What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Coast Boys podcast. My name is Gabe. Today I'm joined here with Izzy, and I welcome our guest, our good friend Robbie. Robbie, what's up, man?
What's up, fellas? Good to be here.
Good to have you on, man.
Thank you so much for making the drive.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's way better than doing it over Zoom.
100%.
We always say that, bro. Like the vibes here in the studio when we have someone in person, we can chat and just read each other's vibes, you know?
It's different, man. It's just different.
Way different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feel
Thank you
that,
so
man.
much for coming.
Of course, man.
So for everybody that doesn't know who you are, Robbie, you want to explain a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Robbinson Galvez. I'm here in Fort Bragg. Everyone knows me as Robbie, but my full name is Robinson, and I go by that now. So I go Robbinson Galvez. I'm 25 years old. I'm a Muay Thai fighter. Well, I'm a fighter in general, I guess, but like my niche is Muay Thai and kickboxing. I'm a Northern California state champion at 159 pounds. I'm a National Point Kickboxing Champion at 100. I don't know. I forgot if it was. I think the bracket was like 170 to 180.
You probably know this.
I should, right? I just like for me, like the details aren't really important. Like, especially for that one, it's like, yeah, it's like a national title, but it's not as big a deal as it sounds because there's no knockouts in that style of fighting. So it's like, it's kind of that level. It's called point kickboxing. So you build your experience without the stress of having to get knocked out. And that's where people build their and then amateurs, like, which is I'm an amateur champion, which everything goes, and you're really trying to take each other's heads off. You're trying to put somebody to sleep. So and that one, since it didn't really mean anything to me, essentially, like I just won it recently, but it was after I'd already had like 11 amateur fights. So it's like I've kind of gone past that level, but it was during COVID, so I needed something to get that experience. You know, like I just needed to get my feet wet again, and I was missing it. You know, so it was nice to just get in front of somebody and punch somebody. Right?
What's the difference between an amateur fighter and a pro fighter? Like, what's the main difference? How do you become a pro fighter?
Honestly, like
Bring that mic a little closer to you.
All right. Honestly, by America's standards, it's just getting paid. Like really, like that's all it is. Like in Thailand, pro fight, like you're pro, but you're only making like 1,500 baht. But like you're getting that's by American standards, you're getting paid, and 1,500 baht is like maybe 30-40 bucks.
A fight.
It's not very much money.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So
That's gas money.
Yeah. Well,
Not even.
that.
Gas prices now, bro. Not even.
And if you
Thanks,
like,
Biden.
well, if you tell me about it, bro.
Hey, whoa.
That's a different
podcast.
No, I'm just okay. Anyways, so like,
So you were saying.
I was saying, right?
So the difference is you just get paid. For pro fighters,
Basically,
they just get okay.
Basically. So like it depends on the sanctioning body too. So like for Muay Thai, there's like a sanctioning body where they say, have you ever made more than $50 for fighting? And in Thailand, there's levels to fighting. So like there's like 1,500 to 3,000 baht, which is like anywhere from $30 to $100. And that's like the lower level, basically like where I'm at. And then they have like the next levels, like I think about 10,000 baht, which I don't know, the math kind of gets away from me, but it's a little bit more money, maybe a couple $100. And then from there, if you go up to like 30,000 baht, it's maybe like $1,000. And then upwards up to like 90,000. Those are like the elite level. Like if someone told me in Thailand, hey, you want to fight for 30,000 baht? I'd be like, hell no. Those guys have had like 100, 200 plus fights, and like they've been training since they could walk. That's the
Have you ever been offered a fight like that?
No.
Okay, I'm just saying because that'd be crazy.
Okay. You're talking about Thailand. Before we get into that, for those that don't know, you went and you trained and you fought in Thailand. But we'll get into all that.
Yeah.
Before we do, let's just give a little context of what life was like growing up, how you got into fighting in the first place.
Right.
Talk about the beginning before we start getting into the deep. We're going to talk about all that.
Yeah.
So just talk about the beginning first.
Oh, for sure, man. So starting off, like, I guess I've always kind of been like attracted to it. Like it was something that like I always felt drawn to. And it was funny because I feel like coming up, it was something I got teased about. Like I was always into like karate and like stuff like that. I always wanted to do it, but I just never had the means or time, or for whatever reason, I just didn't have the support coming up. So I didn't actually get to dive into it. So about 15, I think, I went to a Zumba class with Tiffany, and
shout out to Hector Toscano.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Coast Boys podcast episode 30. What was it with Hector?
I don't know.
Shout out to Hector Toscano.
But yeah, I went to a Zumba class, and I met her, and then I was actually gonna leave because I was with some guy that I met on the football team. He was a new guy, and I was actually gonna leave. She's like, "No, stay. It'll be fun." And then I was like, "Okay." And then at the very end of that class, the Zumba teacher, her boyfriend at the time was MMA instructor. So as soon as I could, I was like, "Oh, I want to go," right? And like he's hearing about me, like, hey, like his girlfriend's telling him like, hey, like I met this guy. He said he's gonna come to your class, blah blah blah. And he's like, Zumba class boy, like come on, you know.
I don't want them, bro.
Yeah, so it was like,
you're not pulling that one on me again, babe. Come on.
Yeah, so I pull up and I end up training for a little bit, do some MMA.
Here in town?
Yeah, here in town. Yeah, at the Jordan studio.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm not sure how much martial arts is being done there because I know there's like a lot of personal training, but yeah, that's where I started. And it was basically just me and my coach, and people would drop in every once in a while, and they would fall off. And it's a small town, and I kind of grew up to like strive for greatness in a sense. Like my mentality is like it's very bulletproof compared to most people's, and I'm gonna try not to sound arrogant in that sense because like I think. For people who don't know me, it's important for me to talk honestly. But for people who know me, I'm gonna sound really arrogant right now, because like I feel like for people to feel comfortable around me, like I have to be like, yeah, I'm all right, like. But in the grand scheme of things, like I'm on the verge of going pro, and and the thing that separates me from most people is not my skill set, it's my mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you start getting to that higher level of competition.
Yeah, definitely.
Because everybody there is strong, is fast, is technical.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What's gonna separate you from the rest of the competition?
Yeah. So I started off training there. I had a few what they call smokers, and smokers are just in-gym events that are not through a sanctioning body. So, like, for example, like CSAC sanctions, like the pro boxing, UFC, like stuff like that. Or you go to NSAC, which is like, you see those like T-shirts on the referees or something, or people that are grabbing people's hands up, getting them ready, like putting the Vaseline on before. So so those people weren't there. And these were just things that gyms would be like, hey, I'm going to put on the smoker and we're just going to let these people bang.
It's like a scrimmage.
Kind of, yeah. But now those smokers eventually start getting regulated by a sanctioning body. But back when I did them, I think you went to one or two of mine, but back when I did them, there was no sanctioning body. So, bro, it was MMA with 4-ounce gloves, a mouthpiece, a cup, no shin guards, and it was like you're fighting pro. Because I got to throw elbows to the head, knees to the head, which you're not allowed to do in amateurs.
Yeah.
So I had 2 smokers like that, and like the first guy I fought was crazy because he had a freaking brown pride tattooed across his stomach, was beating everybody up.
A tear tattoo.
He has 3 of them. Might as well. But he was 26 and I was 16. So they're like, we don't even care. And this guy's like Jack, like like street fighter. I'm just like, oh man, like
same weight class.
No, because like again, there's no sanctioning body to tell you what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
So you just showed up and fight. You're fighting this guy.
Yeah,
pretty much,
basically. And I took that on 2 weeks because my coach is like, oh yeah, the guy where I fought at this last where he had all his fights as the smokers that he had was like, oh yeah, this guy needs a fighter. Like, can I do it? And he's like, yeah. He's a thought about it. He's like, yeah,
like, sure, Robbie, that's a great idea.
I don't know.
But dude, honestly, I was so sloppy. Like when I watched that fight, just cringy, bro.
How much practice that you had prior to that fight?
Dude, maybe a few months or 6 months tops.
So you were not ready.
Yeah, I was.
So that was when you were training here in Fort Bragg.
Here in Fort Bragg.
And you were 16 at the time.
I was
That's
16.
crazy.
And what does the training look like now that it's like all hindsight and now that you know and you have more knowledge? Like what kind of training were you doing? Because for those that don't know, MMA is mixed martial arts. It's boxing, it's kickboxing, it's wrestling, it's Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's
any
everything.
style you want to throw
Any
in
style
there.
you want to throw in there. Originally it started because it's like, what's the best style? Karate versus boxing versus kickboxing.
Right.
Like, so people from karate or jiu-jitsu, like they fight and see what the best style is.
Right.
So when now, like back in the day when that was your first fight, what was your training style like?
Bro, it was so like and not a whole lot has changed for me because I was all heart. Like I fight like if for anyone who knows the sport, like Justin Gaethje. Like that's basically how I started fighting. I was just a slugger. I could take a punch. I could go forward.
I would
just
say
wanna
you
get
fight with
knocked out.
intensity.
Yeah, definitely. So back then, that was all I had, and I didn't really have a skill set. I hadn't defined my fundamentals, which is really important. Like I didn't know, okay, just throw a proper jab. I didn't know combinations. I wasn't stringing things together. Like I was definitely there prematurely, but I wanted it, And that's why my coach is just like, I was so dead set on it. Like from the get go, I was like, I want to compete. Where are the fights? This and that. And then when I was there, I was the only person showing up consistently, and for Fort Bragg, there's very low standards, So
There's no standards.
There's no
Yeah.
standard. Yeah. So I was showing up every weekend. I was showing up whenever he told me to. I was showing up to sparring. So I think that was it. It was just like, okay, this guy's showing up. He's consistent. He wants to do this. Like he's showing it. That's like a week or two, everyone would fall off. So when I was showing up, he's like, oh yeah, you can take that fight. And bro, I got the shit kicked out of me.
Really?
I got whooped up.
Dude, what is that feeling? Like your first fight when you show up, like, do you feel prepared? Are you confident in yourself?
Yeah.
Well, I was I was kind of nervous, but I think I was pretty good at show because like I looked like I do now. Like I was just like, because I remember my coach at the time, he was like, I was also making music, and I ever had a concert, and he's like, dude, you're more nervous for this concert than you were for your first fight. That's freaking hilarious, you know? And I was just kind of like, oh, whatever. So I get,
you're like, really, coach? I don't find that funny.
Well, I don't know, man. But yeah, at the end, when I was there, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get there and fight. And I'd never been in a fight. Like, I'd been beat up a lot, but I'd never been. I've been picked on a lot, but I'd never been in a fight. Like, I'd never been like getting ready to like fight somebody.
An official fight.
Yeah, and like. It's a weird feeling knowing that I can hit back in a weird way, you know, like and knowing that I was like, okay, this guy's gonna try to hurt me. Like, I know it, and it's not like a mystery, their intentions, you know? Right. So, getting in there, it was just kind of like, okay, I can hit, and I felt kind of like maybe. Like, as soon as the fight ring, I thought, because we were all about respect. We go light to the head, hard to the body, and then just the shock of like, boom, 4-ounce gloves, man. Like, it's just like going to the face. I'm like, holy, the first punch, I'm like seeing stars, and I'm just like, what the heck? And then I'm just like, I remember like chasing him down, and like, eventually, I don't know how I got a takedown, and for like maybe 15, 20 seconds, I had control of the fight on the ground. I was never able to take him down again. I wasn't ready. My cardio was not there. I was not eating right. It was just a recipe for disaster. But I ended up surviving the fight and went all 3 rounds with the guy who was known for like hurting people, if not knocking them out, and the previous smokers that he'd been to. And again, no sanctioning body. So actually, let me backtrack. I'm gonna explain this, and I'm gonna move forward and explain why the no sanctioning body is so important. So I maybe had control of the fight for 15, 20 seconds tops. I maybe landed a few punches here and there, but
on the ground.
On the ground, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I took him down. I was punching him, and I was winning. I was like, oh, I'm a grappler. Okay, got it. You know. And then, but this guy, his hands were just so crisp, and he was so powerful. And bro, like taking those shots, I was like, oh my god. And I felt really angry because there was nothing I could do about it. There was nothing I could do about this guy beating me up, and I'm in there and I'm training, right? Like, I'm training for this. I'm getting ready, and there's nothing I can do. And I was like, and then my mom is crying. I'm bleeding like through my nose, and I could just hear people. I just hear people like the energy. I've never been around people cheering. Like, I was never. It was funny because I think coming up, I always wanted to be somehow just accepted, or if not, like I did things to get me in the center of attention. Like, I did music, dancing, skating, like a lot of things that were like adrenaline junk. Yeah. And then for the first time, like all eyes on me, all eyes on this fight, and I'm losing, and I can't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. And as a 16-year-old, when you're like insecure, you don't know where you're at, and you're so sure this is what you want to do. Bro, it was scary, and I was just kind of like, I just want this fight to be over. I don't want to let it be over, but I just hope the bell rings. Like, mm-hmm. I remember being there and being like, just like standing there, afraid, like but I didn't want to punch. Like, I was just neutralized, and because his game was working, his game plan was working, right? And but I survived the fight, and then we got fight of the night. No one knew I was 16, so by the time, dude, you're 16. What the hell? You have all this. You have so much potential and whatnot. So after that, of course, my mom was crying, like pretty hysterically.
Where was this at?
In Clear Lake. It was this gym. It's closed now, but it was a gym, and it wasn't even like a real ring. It was like 2 walls that were padded. One wall was like ring material, like cage material, and then to get inside, you had to walk through ropes. So ring, cage, and ropes. It wasn't even like a real ring, and there was just chairs set up in a gym, and you just walk in and whatever. And so the reason that's so important is, like, of course, let me tell you about my second smoker. I won. It was against a guy who made it to state in wrestling. But with that one, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna come out and I'm just gonna hit him. I don't care what happens. I'm just gonna hit him because I don't want to be a punching bag. So that actually really it defined my style, because now that's all I do. I'm just like, I'm gonna hit you before you hit me, and I'm gonna make it hurt. And if I land a punch on you, I'm gonna make sure I get your respect, so that way I don't have to worry about the rest of the fight. Because if I hurt you, and you're worried about my power, you're worried about what I'm doing, it's like, I hit you with my right hand, you're gonna be thinking about that right hand. All I have to do is flinch to the right hand, you're gonna do something about it.
You're gonna be cautious about it.
Yeah. And then and you add all the elements to that for my martial arts, which is Muay Thai. It's called the art of 8 limbs, and that's what it describes. And I actually have it tattooed. I have the tattoos. I have tattooed 1 through 8 on every limb that's a weapon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you get 2 hands, 2 elbows, 2 knees, 2 shins. And
you have tattoos of that?
Yeah, look, I got the knuckles. Hold on, I'll show you. I'll show you at least the arm ones, right? I didn't wear shorts, but I thought it'd be cool. I got them done in Mexico. But yeah, there's the 1 and the 2. There's a 3 and the 4.
Oh yeah.
And then I have the 5 and the 6 on the inside of my knees, and the 7 and the 8 on my shins.
That's sick.
Yeah. Hold up. Let's see. This thing doesn't want to. I'm caught here, but yeah, like. My second fight, I beat the guy. I found out that like he stayed the night at the gym in front of the fan. Like he was just like destroyed.
Really? How far after was the second fight from your first fight?
Maybe a couple months. Maybe.
Okay, so not too long.
Not too long after. So I was like fresh on my mind.
You just wanted to get back in there.
Yeah, and it was cool because I don't know if you were there for that one, Izzy, but I know like my girlfriend at the time was there. My aunt and uncle were there. My cousins like Diego and Randy. I don't know if you remember them.
I went to one where your fighter didn't show up.
Yeah,
that's the one I went to.
Yeah.
But I just remember going. And dude, the energy was crazy, and it was like a small like ballroom, like a conference room in a casino.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, dude, like if it gets this crazy here, like imagine what it's like at like a professional fight.
Right.
But dude, I just kind of like I think that's where I really fell in love with like MMA. And I was like, dude, this is so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
And this is like amateur level fighting. Like imagine like the fucking the best in the world, you know?
Right.
That was nuts.
It was. I mean. I did do an amateur MMA fight. This is where I'm gonna go into like the sanctioning body is really important because when I go into this amateur MMA fight, they were like, "What kind of gloves you got?" I was like, "I got these ones." They're like, "No, those you can't use those here." I was like, "Wait, what?" Like I've used these in like 2 fights before, and it was funny because like now that I know of the gym that was throwing the event, the reputation isn't great. Along with the community, they're great fighters. They produce great fighters. Their skill set is amazing, but and in the community they just have a lot of enemies. So just tell you a little something about the promotion that they're putting on, right? So this guy that I was supposed to fight, he was supposed to. I was 1-1 in smokers, not amateur fights, and he told me, yeah, this guy's 1-1 too, and whatever. And we look up, and it was 2 weeks away from the amateur fight, and it was at the Santa Rosa Fairgrounds at the big like freaking where they're doing the COVID vaccines right now.
Yeah,
you know what that is. So it was in that place, and I'd never been around so many people, and it was bigger than the one you went to. So it was like freaking just like 2,000 people there, and like it was live streamed, and you know I don't even know if it was like a popular thing back then, but it was like a big deal to be on that, you know. And dude, it was so funny. And like, yeah, he's 1-1. We look him up. He's 3-0, and we're just oh my god, like I don't care. I'm gonna beat his ass, right? I'm gonna hurt this guy. Yeah. And then I was still 16, and
Here's your second fight?
It's like this is my third one. So I had 2 smokers, and then I had this. This was an actual amateur though. So there was a sanctioning body there to make sure we're safe. We have all the protective equipment we need. Right. So I get there, and the day before the weigh-ins, they changed my opponent. They told me, no notice. Yeah. So I'm at the weigh-ins, and they call my guy up, and then I was like, wait, why am I not called up? Am I not fighting? And then they switched my opponent to a different guy. I was like, wait, you guys didn't even tell me. Like, so it was shady on the promoter side. So that's why you need good management. You need a good coach to pick your fights. That way, all you have to do is worry about the fight. Like I had a 16, not smart, right? So I had to be my manager. I had to be my nutritionist. I had to be everything that my coach takes care of for me now. I had to be that at 16. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just new in this sport. I'd never experienced anything.
Okay, so talk about that. So like you knew who you were gonna fight, so you were planning like for that specific fighter who you were gonna be fighting. So what was the preparation like? What were you eating? What were you working out? Like what were you doing?
Well, I was never cutting weight. I would just show up at the weight and I would fight at that weight.
What weight were you at?
I think it was 60, but I was bulking. So they're like at 55 because it was actual sanctioning body. Okay. And with the smokers, they'd be like, how heavy are you? I'd be like, 58. And they'd be like, all right, we got a guy who's 65. You'll fight him.
Good enough.
Yeah. It was like if you were within 10 pounds, they would let you fight.
Right.
And that's a big like advantage on weight.
But for this one, it's you got to be that weight. Yeah, and that's it. You know, okay.
Yeah, I pulled up, and this was in Santa Rosa. So I pulled up. It was downtown. The Waynes were at this bougie bar like upstairs. That's where Perch and Plow now is. And I was like, I remember when they tore up that downtown section, I was torn up because I was like, I weighed in there. Like I was kind of like it has sentimental value to me. You're like, my heart. I was like, I would have loved to go back and like redeem myself there, but
Okay, so you knew who you were fighting. So what was the prep? You were never worried about what you were eating, or
well, the thing is, he only told me the name, and his record was 1-1. So he lied to me. This promoter lied to me in order to save his ass and get me on the show. Yeah. So that's not right. Right. But honestly, that's why you have to have good management and a good coach, because promoters can't be scumbags. And I'm not saying all of them.
I always hear that. It's like promoters are shady. It's like, I wonder why they're shady. What do they do?
Well, they just have to save their ass. Like they have to make sure that they say, oh, there's going to be 15 fights. they have to make sure those 15 fights happen because injuries happen.
Right.
They have to find last minute replacements. They have to, and it's just like, oh, well, you fight here, and especially for pros, like we take this much money, we take less money, we take. As an amateur, it's like I'll have to show up and make sure that this is like we're evenly matched. Like I don't want to be fighting someone. I'm 1-1 in smokers.
Right.
No amateur experience. I train at a little gym with like 2 coaches. Like I have one karate coach and I have one coach who's like well versed, but he's new to coaching. He's a fighter. He just decided to stop fighting recently and he's decided to coach. So I'm just like sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? Like, and they're still new to this whole experience themselves as coaches, and I'm new to this experience myself as a fighter. Right. So we get to this event, and it was funny because one of the coaches didn't get the backstage pass, so he just hopped the fence. He got there like, whoa, all right, let's go. I snuck in here. Let's get you wrapped in. I'm just like nervous.
Tighter security, man. Come on.
Yeah, Robbie, why are you all sweaty?
Yeah, I'm like walking out there. There's like music playing, and I didn't get to choose my walkout. There's a lot of small details that got into my head, so I didn't get to choose my walkout music. They didn't let me use my gloves. I didn't have shin. It's like,
do they provide you with gloves?
They should, yeah. Most promoters
they should, but they didn't.
No, I used somebody else's gloves. So it was, but the sanctioning body's there to be like, this is the gloves you have to use, and they took them from some other fighter because that was the first fight up. I had some shorts and like, no, these shorts have pockets. You can't use these in there. And I was like, shit. So I had to borrow shorts. And then they're like, you don't have shin guards? No. And I had to borrow shin guards.
Jesus.
And then when they're explaining the rules, they're like, okay, no punching to the face when you're on the ground. No kicking to the head. No elbows. No knees to the head. And I was like, what? I was like, that's like half the stuff that's like my specialty.
How am I supposed to fight?
Yeah. So I get in there for the amateur fight and I'm just like mentally destroyed. Like, you know, like they're giving me a hard time. They switched my opponent. I'm just like emotionally and mentally drained for this. And I get in there, I'm the first fight up, and they're giving me a hard time. They're like, first fighters, come on. I'm like, well, they won't let me go. Like, and then they made me rewrap my hands, or something. They wanted to like fix my hand taping or what. It was just bad. And then so I get in there, and this fight all happened very quickly because I almost knocked him out. I came out strong, hit him with a few punches, and he was like kind of rocked on the edge on the fence. And then so I was like, okay, I got him. I just got to keep him there. And then I threw a lazy kick. He took me down. And his school, they're notorious for the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling. Mm-hmm. So he took me down on the ground. And I was trying to punch him, but I couldn't punch him in the face. And then it's funny. He's choking me out on the edge of the fence, kind of by my corner. And I had my jiu-jitsu was none. Like I had wrestled a little bit here and there, but my jiu-jitsu was none. So he's like doing all these transitions on me, gets me in a rear naked choke, and he starts punching me in the face, and the ref's not saying anything because again, like this gym does not have a great reputation. He's punching me in the face, like that's against the rules, and he's just like. He starts talking shit to me and whatever while I'm on the ground, and then he's just like freaking choking me out, and it's all under a minute, and I'm just like. Fuck yeah, tap, tap, tap. Like yelling out like at the top of my lungs. Like I was such a bad experience.
Jesus.
And then, after that I had one more smoker against the guy I originally fought. He punched me in the eyeball and I collapsed and they called it there. And then that was kind of like the end of my fighting days as far as like being a teenager goes, but not because I didn't want to, it's because I took an injury.
This is when you were in high school?
In high school, yeah. Because remember, you were there for that one fight. It was supposed to be my next one. And I think that might have been junior year of high school.
I was trying to think about when it was. Yeah. I was like, was that in college?
I was a junior year in high school. Because then in my senior year is when I fractured my sternum. My only training partner was someone who just got out of prison. So we're trying to get him to work light and whatever. And I was supposed to fight at this tournament and he kneed me in the sternum. And of course, and my senior project and everything. Jesus. Dude, I've been kicked in the nuts like about as hard as anyone can be hit. In the sternum, this doesn't compare. Like the pain was agonizing and it stays there. Like it's like, bro, like anything I did this. I was like, like I would talk. I was like, you made me laugh. I was like, please don't make me laugh. Like, bro, for real. I was just like, anything I did, I was on the verge of tears. I would like lay down on my bed and be like, like I remember like my routine was because my bed was tall and I'm only 5'7", so I'm like getting on my bed and I was just like, okay, take deep breaths. I would jump on my bed and go. And then I was like, okay, I'm up on my bed. Like I gotta lay down now because I'm sitting up. Then I was like, okay, deep breath. And then I lay down. And then like lay down. Bro, it was just agonizing pain. Like you've never imagine getting kicked in the nuts, but the pain doesn't go away for weeks.
How long was the pain? How long was the pain?
Like bad pain, a couple months.
Jeez.
Like where I could laugh in about a month. But moderately, not like laugh.
You can't laugh. Deep laugh.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so that was senior year, the beginning of senior year. I have my senior project all mapped out. I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to be a fighter. I'm going to turn pro at 18.
What'd you do your senior project on?
I ended up doing it on automotive automotive stuff, like cars, like being
Who'd
a
you shadow?
mechanic. Dude, honestly, like because I was a bad student, I got someone someone in town who had a GTR. And I saw it and I asked him, I went up to him and said, hey man, can I like interview you because you're a car enthusiast and whatever.
He's like, get away from me, kid.
He's like, sure.
I interviewed the auto shop teacher.
Okay.
And I forgot who the other one was. I might have only done 2, like, you know, I didn't do great. But because I was like, I was so set, this is what I want to do. Like for real, like I really felt like it was like a higher calling. And now I've confirmed that, like we can get into that later. But I would like, as a kid, I was always drawn to it. And it was funny because like I was always doing things as a kid that like would basically get my dad's attention. So I was like playing guitar. He was like guitar. He liked watching action movies. He liked cars. So I ended like all my interests are like the typical like guy things, you know. So. But the one that always called me the hardest was fighting. Like I always wanted to do karate. I always wanted to do this. And I was actually really jealous of Hector because I remember I went to one karate class and he was like a yellow belt. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I was like in kindergarten, dude.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like,
to Hector Toscano.
Yeah.
Yellow belt shit.
Yeah, dude, that was like the first and only experience I ever had till I was like a teenager with karate. And I was just like, I remember I was like, oh, that guy does karate. That's so cool.
Damn.
But yeah, I just felt like I was always drawn to it no matter what. I always try to do it on my own. Like I remember like I would mess around. My dad would make me nunchucks and I could like mess around with nunchucks. And like I'm actually pretty nice with nunchucks now because I was just had them like, Dad, can you make some nunchucks? Yeah, and I just play around with them and stuff. And yeah, I was just always into that like type of stuff. This the action stuff and being tough, and it might have something to do with like, you know, not being very cool growing up. So I thought that might have been like a cool thing to like know how to fight. And there was like the 80s kickboxing movies and like these corny kung fu movies. It's always like the loser that overcomes all adversity and becomes the best, you know.
Yeah.
So
the underdog kind of story.
Yeah, it really resonated. So I think that's why like I was always drawn to it. But yeah, I took a break senior year. As soon as I got hurt, I was like, all right, something safe because I can't go 6 months without training or kidding. How am I supposed to make money? Blah blah blah. So yeah, I decided to do the car stuff and did that and kind of went away from the fighting, veered away, got into cars, started driving sports cars and street bikes and just getting into that kind of thing. And
so how long of a break did you take between your last fight and then you wanting to fight again or practicing again?
Well, the urge to fight never went away.
Right, but when did you restart?
So I was about 17 when I stopped, and then I started I started training when I was 20, like a month before my 21st.
So talk about that time in between, because you mentioned that you were into cars and stuff, and you went to go to school in Sacramento. So talk about that experience.
Yeah.
But before you do, talk about what you wanted to be when you, like, so you're a teenager in your late teens and you're fighting. Like, where's your career path? Like, what are you thinking about what you want to be when you're older?
Dude,
like,
I'm living out my dream there.
Yeah?
Yeah, like fighting was like, I'm set. Like, this is it. Like, bro, like, I've never had that type of adrenaline and like being respected and admired and just people coming up to me and shaking my hand. People want to talk to me. Like that was just such a new experience because I was kind of always in the shadows. So it was just kind of cool to be in the limelight and be the center of attention. Like, bro, I'm an entertainer. Like, I mean, before we came here, I was like falling asleep, and now I'm just like, I'm wide awake. I'm ready to go. Let's talk. You know, like every time I'm in these positions of limelight, I'm just like, let's go. I want to thrive. Like I want to make sure people get the most out of me. Like I want to deliver. So being in the ring, man, like that's where I really get to shine and thrive, and that's what I've dedicated my life to now. So it's like most people go to college 4 years, get their degree. Like, bro, I've been doing this like seriously for 4 years. So like when people talk about me and fighting, it's like I sound a little bit arrogant sometimes, but it's because this is what I do. Like I don't have a job. I don't have no plan B. I don't have what like this. I mean, of course, I graduated from my school and I have these certifications and stuff. But like, this is it for me. Like, this is all I want to do. Like,
You're all in.
Yeah, I'm all in. There's no safety net. Like, and if it happens, like, I just said I'll damage control. That's what I tell everybody. Like, I'll just damage control. If it doesn't work out, then whatever. It doesn't work out. But like, I'll think about that when I get there. Right now, I'm all in. So right now it's just like. I take pride in this. Like this is who I am. This is what I am. This is my identity, and I don't think that's ever gonna go away. So
yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So okay, so talk about your time in Sacramento. Like, what was that experience like? Was it always on the back of your mind? It's like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do fighting.
Yeah.
Like, where did you see yourself? Because obviously, when you're in the moment, you're doing that. You're doing school. You're putting all this effort and time into it.
Right.
You have to be thinking, okay, even though I don't want to, I think I'm gonna go the car route. I think I'm gonna get a job like right here with whatever company after. Like, what was going on there?
Yeah, I got really sucked into it, and to the school's credit, they do a really good job of like getting, oh, you should do this and you should do that, you know. And
so what school did you go to?
I went to UTI, Universal Technical Institute, and it was supposed to be quick. I was supposed to be in and out in a year, but then they sucked me into trying to get into like specialty programs. Like
that's how they sell you on it, right?
Yeah, they're like,
oh, finish in a year and you can get this much after. And
yeah, then you get there and they're like, you should take Nissan, you should do diesel too, you should do this, and you can make so much money do that. And I'm just like, and you are your surroundings, right? So like I'm in there, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna have so much fun, and bro, I was honestly really miserable. That was probably like some of the lowest times in my life. Like really? I met some really cool people and I had some cool experiences and whatever. But it was a very big low for me, and I think a lot of it had to do was that I wasn't fighting. Like as soon as I got to Sacramento, right away I was looking for a gym because I was like, oh, there's gonna be a bunch.
Right.
And then when I didn't want my parents to pay for everything, so I started working and.
Where were you working at?
I worked at a bunch of different restaurants. I did some window tint stuff. At one point, I had 3 jobs and I was going to school.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was rough, man. Like I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I didn't have a whole lot of free time. All I had, and like for a little bit there, I had a girlfriend, and I was coming back and forth to Fort Bragg like every other weekend or whatever. And you know, that's a 4-hour drive,
That's
and
tough.
so it was a long like.
I remember you were really busy all the time.
Yeah, and
I do remember that.
I was exerting myself a lot, and I was trying to give myself to be the best at everything, and I was just kind of like, it was funny because school actually ended up taking the back seat. Like whenever I could work, so I could go see my girl, I could go be with my family or something. Like that really took priority, and then. When things like I was about to graduate, I was about maybe 19 or something, and like I kind of lost everything. Like I was like, okay, I don't have any friends. I'm not very close with my family at the time. Like I wasn't someone like my parents are cool, you know, and I love my parents, but like there's sometimes like there's some scenarios where you like you just, I mean, we're Latinos, so there's like machismo from your parents and then your mom. Like my mom was a disciplining one, so like being like that was kind of like a little bit of a wall at the time, and I wasn't necessarily close to my brother because I treated my brother how people treated me, which is not great. So about that time, I was just kind of like, what the hell? Like, what's the point in my life right now? You know, I don't want to do this. I don't want to work on cars. All I want to do is fight. And I have nobody to talk to about it. And then like the only person that like was there was like my girl, and I just, you know, we split ways for whatever reason, you know, and I'm like, okay, so what's left? Like who am I? Like what am I doing? And like I had to like really fall, like I was like, okay, I got to finish school. Like let's just get that out of the way. So, and then I really had to fall into like my family, and like and that was like the first time I was like, where I was like, okay, like family really, like the lessons that people told me in high school that really started to make sense, you know, like, you know, you split ways with your friends after high school. You think it's going to be this, you think it's going to be that, like, you think it's going to be all jolly and whatever, but like, things are rough, man. Like life is real. Like, you know, it's not a movie. So I was in a very dark place for a long time. After I graduated, I actually moved out of Sacramento as soon as I could. Like I was already planning, like 2 months before I was graduating. I was just like, I think I failed the class, and you get a new like semester, quote unquote, whatever, every 3 weeks. So you just go through like super fast. Like, okay, you learned this. All right, you learned that. All right, next 3 weeks. Then you like, or 3 or 4 weeks,
quick.
something like
That's
that.
very fast, yeah. 3 weeks.
Super quick pace. And so I was just like, I think I failed like one of them. I was like, no, like I want to go. Like I don't want to be here anymore.
You had to retake it?
Yeah, I had to retake it. And I was like a couple, like 2 courses away or something. I was like, dude, this freaking sucks. Like I just want to get out of here. So I ended up, as soon as I could, I moved out because I was working. I was just like finding ways to distract me from like having kind of an identity crisis. Because I always had something to work towards. Like I was playing sports. I had a girl. Like, you know, like and when you're in high school, like when you have a girlfriend, you think like, oh, I'm gonna marry this girl.
Always
I'm
and
gonna go
forever.
You know,
I love
you and me forever.
Yeah. Number
Second
one
week of dating, babe. I love you.
Yeah. Number one
You're my
MySpace friend for
everything,
life. Yeah, you know, it's
Always
just like,
Been there, done that.
yeah, you know, it's just like, yeah. So at least like it was always something to work towards, you know.
I don't want to talk about it.
I get you, man. Like, I mean, like, and the thing was, like, I'd never even been single. Like, my whole life, like, my whole teenage life, I had a girlfriend pretty much. Or I was working to get one. So I was always, like, focused on it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
You're very goal-driven. I respect that.
you know, I was like, bro, I'm going to marry this first girl. All right, that didn't work out. I'm going to marry this second one, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, it wasn't like in a month or whatever, you know? Like, I was dating the first girl for probably almost 6 years. And the other one for almost, for couple, if not not a few years after. So I was like, okay, I'm 19. I basically feel like I have no friends. I have to reside in my family where there's a little bit of a wall. And then I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I want to go. And so I get out, I graduate, and with honors. No, I'm just playing, dude. Like up on Sasos, how they say, like in Mexico, you know, like just like barely squeezing by. And
but you did it.
I did it, yeah. And I was like, okay, I have that. And then they're like, okay, my parents like, now what? And I was like, you know what? Like, I think I just want to be an entrepreneur. Like, I want to make money so I can fight. Like, that was my goal. I was like, I'm gonna make a bunch of money. Then when I get the money part taken care of, I'm gonna become a fighter. I can train all the time. I'm gonna be so good and blah blah blah. And then.
What did your parents say about that when you told them that?
Yeah, were they supportive?
Oh, yeah. The dude, like, I've been fed entrepreneurship as soon as I could talk.
Really?
Like, yeah, like I remember there's some, like, you know, like, what was the first book you read? Like, do you remember, like, the first books you read?
Had to have been in school.
No.
Nothing I wanted to read.
I read that one little book with like a teddy bear and he's like missing a button and he's like.
But do you?
Oh yeah,
corduroy.
Yeah. He gets lost in the mall.
It's a great book.
That's a great book. Hey, everyone, listen to this. Make sure you go check out
Shout out Corduroy.
But bro, okay, so my first books that I remember reading was like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant.
Okay, I've heard about that one.
Cash Flow Quadrant, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like, and my parents were always playing like tapes about people chasing their goals and whatever, you know, like what podcasting is now, you know, these motivational stuff. Yeah. But my parents were playing that left and right. I grew up on the road because my dad was like translating for these, like my dad met Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote the Cash Flow Quadrant. Like, he was his translator. Like, he would just hang out with him in a hot tub or whatever. So like, I see my dad in these arenas filled with people like very accomplished, and everyone telling, like, I grew up telling me, like, people were telling me like, your dad's a champion, your dad's a winner, your dad's this and your dad's that. I was like, oh man, that's so cool, right? And so my parents fed me this idea of entrepreneurship. I didn't have to be my own boss. So I almost was bad in school on purpose, because by the time my parents wanted me to be good in school, it was too late. You know, the habits had already been made. It's like, oh, yeah, and everything was already set. And they're like, okay, and they're like, all right, well, you seem pretty serious about this. Before fighting, it was entrepreneurship. So they're like, you seem serious about the entrepreneurship. And maybe they didn't like the fighting thing, but they're like, at least you're serious about it. You know, and I was like, not like an adult, like a teenager. Like, I was like, you know, maybe 6, 8, up until like maybe 18 or whatever. Like, I always thought like I was gonna be driving like at least a Subaru. I was like, if I'm really really bad broke, I'll be buying a Subaru. If not, I'm gonna pull up to school in a Ferrari. Like, I was just like, had a like unwavering confidence that was gonna happen. Fortunately, you know, I'm 25 years as a fighter. You know, I don't even own my own car right now. Yeah. But yeah, like that's the type of stuff that I was reading. I was listening to people telling me you can do whatever you want. Like, I had these people telling me like really inspiring and motivational things, and then I go to like social settings and I just getting like beat up or picked on or whatever reason. So I just like, it sucked, you know. So I was very clashing. My life was like a lot. It was just butting heads, you know. Like, it was just like one side, it's like everyone loves me, it feels like, and this side, it's just like, why can't I fit in? So yeah, I was just always kind of driven, and I just decided I always had a goal in mind. Like, whether it was like by the time I was 12, I already knew what I wanted my life to look like. I was like, oh, I want to be a young dad. I want to have this giant house. I want to have a room for music. I want to have this. I want to have a private cook. Like, dude, like everything you like in detail. Like,
you had it all
planned out. And that's why I think it wasn't so much that like, yeah, of course, a little teenage fever gets you a little bit, but like, I'd already planned to be a young parent, and I was like, okay, so this is the girl. Like, I'm gonna get married. And also growing up in church, I was like, oh, this is my one girl that I get, you know, and I'm just gonna marry her. And,
you're the one for me, babe.
Yeah, that's right. And then yeah, dude, and we split ways, and I was like, okay, that kind of sucks. But I was like, I still, that can still be the goal. Like, I can still kind of. Yeah. And then, you know, when the other one didn't work out, it's just kind of like, all right, well, maybe the whole maybe I'm the problem. No, exactly. That's exactly, dude. I've been single for like 5 years now, man. Like, I did the work on myself, and like, not even like,
that was, absolutely. I think that's one of those things that it's like, because we grew up together, so it was one of those things. Like, 100% agree. It's like, you don't realize that you're bouncing from girl to girl. You're creating bad habits in a way. Maybe you're not, because you're like focused on one person long term, but at the end of the day, it's like, that doesn't work out. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next girl. But you don't realize, I need to get comfortable. I need to be happy with myself before I can be happy with someone else. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you have to figure that out at a low point.
Yeah, definitely. And like, after the last girl, I was just kind of like, all right, nothing. Like, I'm just gonna like be on my own. Like, and like, At the time, like I was more like a jerk about it, you know. I was more like,
riddance.
I
want you anyways.
I hate you, dude, for real. And then but then at the end of the day, I was like, it ended up working out. Like that was the most mature, like in an immature way, it was the most mature thing I could have done, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and worked on myself and stuff. So now, after I graduated, did the whole I tried on different routes of entrepreneurship for a year.
When you talk about entrepreneurship, like talk about some of the things that, like when you think, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, like what is your route? Where do you start?
Dude, I had no idea. That was the problem, you know? But I knew I wanted to start a business. I knew I wanted to work for myself. I didn't want to work for nobody, and I wanted to make money fast. So I did everything from like multi-level marketing to Forex, stock trading, even started dabbling. Me and one of my buddies were trying to make an app because he was studying web development. I studied a little public speaking here and there because I was getting some sort of success in whatever fields. And right at the point where I thought like, okay, I can make something of this entrepreneur thing, I was like, I think Paige Van Zandt and Sage Northcutt were just fresh in the UFC, and these are 19, 20-year-olds
young
in the UFC.
Fighters, right? Gabe, if you don't know,
yeah,
young fighters.
I picked up on that. Thank you, though. Appreciate it.
And I mean, I was the same age, and I was like, damn, people my age are doing great things, you know. And I was like, and I think the Olympics or something was around when all these young kids are doing. I was like, that sucks. I was like, okay, it's okay. I can be a broke fighter. That's fine. So I decided to just dive in, being a broke fighter. I was like, I don't need the money. All I need is my youth. And then the money will come if it's really going to come. And
when you say you dove into being a broke fighter, what does that mean exactly? So you hadn't been training yet, right? You had still just been trying to do all this entrepreneur stuff. Yeah. So what, do you find a gym or what? Yeah. What's the next step that you did?
Yeah. So I decided, so my coach here, like, of course, like that bad experience I told you about my first amateur fight, he's like, don't go to that gym. And I was like, okay, I won't go to that gym. So I went, basically, I live in Calistoga now. And I went to every gym in Santa Rosa, which is a driving distance from me, and went around to a bunch of different gyms. That wasn't that gym I was told to stay away from.
How many gyms are there in Santa Rosa?
There's probably a lot, but I picked like the ones with the best reviews. And I was like, I can't go to Petaluma, but if I have to go to Petaluma, there was like the one other MMA school.
So the gym not to go to is in Petaluma?
It's in Santa Rosa, actually. But I was like, the furthest I'm willing to drive is Petaluma. I don't want to, but I will. So I looked at I looked into Rohnert Park and then circled back. And then the gym I'm actually at now, which is phase 3, that was the last gym on my list. And the first 2 gyms I went to, one was closed. The other 2 didn't exist. Like it wasn't even in the lot, the address they had. And I went to this one and I couldn't find it because it's kind of in the back parking lot, and it's like there's like a little strip kind of like of like a old movie theater. There's like a restaurant and like a Mary's pizza place.
That one's in Rohnert Park?
It's in Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa.
And then in the back parking lot, there's like behind the parking lot, actually at the very end of it is like my school, and I couldn't find it. I was like, I don't want to go to the stupid gym, the other stupid gym I was told to stay away from. So I'm like, I parked my car. It's in front of these tennis courts. You know where Howarth Park is?
I don't know. Where's that near in Santa Rosa?
Howarth Park? Annandale Park?
Annandale.
It's like a hiking place. It's like a state. It's one of those parks.
Like, what's the closest place to that gym?
It's the closest place
that we would know. Or what side of the
Highway 12?
Highway 12.
Highway
like
12.
Sebastopol Road?
Like where 12 turns into 4th Street. You know, where like
so
downtown Santa Rosa.
Okay.
Okay, but it's gonna take me forever to explain.
Like Montgomery Village area.
Montgomery Village, yeah, a little bit more east,
okay,
like a few blocks maybe or something. So right there, and so I got out of my car, I parked in front of these tennis courts, and I'm just running around. I was like, I gotta find this gym, and I found it. And finally, of course, I was like, but I'm freaking frantic, angry, like I need to find a gym today. And I go in, I'm like, I talk to the coach because I've gone to like very notorious gyms in Sacramento. I just couldn't commit to staying there, and a lot of them I didn't even like, to be honest. They kind of treat you like garbage. So I go in there with like this attitude, like, hey, man.
You ever gone to Alpha Male?
I probably shouldn't say that.
Really?
Yeah, whatever. They don't know me. When I went there, I didn't have a good experience at Alpha Male.
But talk about it. It's the reality. Like, why didn't you like it?
I didn't like it because okay, this is a cool part of it. I think Cody Garbrandt was having like a promo when I was there. Like he was in the boxing ring. They had like all these cool cameras.
So Team Alpha Male is like a notorious gym. Yeah, it's a notorious gym started by Uriah Faber, right?
Yep.
A professional UFC fighter. He was like the one that went up to the ranks. I think he was the first bantamweight champion in the UFC. Yeah. Was he? Something along the lines. Either him or Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, but they're rivals. So
yeah, they're rivals. He's a local kid. I think he wrestled at UC Davis, and he started a gym in Sacramento. And they filter a lot of smaller guys into the UFC, like from 155 down. They don't have a lot of big fighters. So they have a lot of smaller fighters that come from all over the country, and they train there because of how competitive it is.
This is in Santa Rosa.
This is in Sacramento. And they're very notorious for filtering guys through to the UFC, and they're very... It almost... From the outside looking in, I wouldn't know. I'm not a fighter, and I've never trained there, and I've never been there. From what I see, it looks almost like a fraternity, how the feel of it and how they treat their fighters, and like it's very much a brotherhood to where when one fighter... There's been like a lot of times, or like the whole TJ Dillashaw thing, when there's fighters that leave the camp, and it's not really communicated well with like the upper, like the coaches and stuff, like it's very hostile. You know what I'm saying? It's like bros turning on bros type of thing, you know? But like it's very meathead, it's very like bro, what the fuck, bro, like kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the vibe I get from there. It's very it's team alpha male. It's like
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's in the name.
Yeah.
You kind of know what you get yourself into. Yeah.
But okay, that's a little bit of context. What was your experience like?
So I went there. I took the basics class, and the thing. Okay, starting off, I walked in the door and nobody even helped me. There was someone at the front desk, but they were talking to somebody. Like I wasn't there. I'm just kind of standing around, like, all right, hope to get help sometime soon. And I'm looking at the little schedule, and I couldn't really figure it out. Like it was kind of weird how they had it there, and I was kind of like, I'm waiting there for someone to like take me a notice, and then the guy after like 10 minutes of standing there, it felt like, I don't know if it might have actually been that long for real, but like the guy finally was like, hey man, can I help you with something? I was like, yeah, like I want to know when the classes are, when's the training, like I'd like to give it a shot. Like, all right, so we have these many classes, you get 3 days for free or something. And I was like, oh, cool. And I think it was like a Thursday. And then the next day was Friday, and I wanted to get some sparring on Saturday. And I was like, all right, I can take the general class tomorrow then. And it's like, yeah, for sure, man. Just sign this and come back tomorrow and we'll get you taken care of. And I was like, all right. So I go to this general class, and they're teaching the Muay Thai Clinch, which is basically like a Greco-Roman style wrestling, which basically is upper body wrestling. There's no grabbing the legs and picking up and letting people down. You're using your upper torso and arms to take somebody down. And there was this guy there, and I ended up partnering with this guy, and he's like, and he had pretty sloppy clinch, and I was a horrible fighter back. Like I was terrible. Like, and
this is when you're getting back into it? This is while you're in Sacramento?
This is one of the times where I was like, oh, I might get into fighting, because there was a few times I went to several gyms in Sacramento.
But this is why you were studying at UTI?
Yeah, while I was studying at UTI.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll get into the fighting thing. It'll help me out. And I went to this gym, and bro, like this guy, his clinch was horrible. And I knew that having a horrible clinch myself. I was like, hey man, if you do this, it might be a little bit better. He's like, oh, I know what to do, but we're just training right now, so I don't have to take it that serious. And after that, he got a little condescending and started like trying to push me around a little bit, and then pushing him around a little bit. And then I whoop up on him, and I was like, okay. And he was supposed to be like one of their competitors. And I was like, okay. I was like, if this is where it's at, like I suck. I know I suck. I need to have a higher bar, so I probably shouldn't train here. And then I didn't even bother going into sparring, because it's like the vibe was really off, you know? Like not even being helped when you walked in, and then getting into a partner where he was trying to take your head off. And I was like, hey man, like I didn't know. Like I was trying to be cool about it, you know? I was like, hey man, if you do this, like I just didn't know, because he's doing a horrible job. And now that I know I'm decent at the clinch, I know he was doing a horrible job, you know? So it's kind of like, yeah, I just didn't even go back, because I just didn't like the feel of it. It just seemed very aggro.
And that was one of the guys that was competing there?
That's what he told me. So, and again, like I hate talking bad about other gyms, you know, but like it just wasn't for me.
That's just your personal experience.
Yeah. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Had a bad vibe?
Yeah. So
what were we talking about? Gyms in Santa Rosa and how you found the phase 3. Okay, so talk about your first experience going there.
Dude, it was amazing. Like I as soon as I walked in, someone helped me. And they're like, oh yeah, I was just like, hey, what do you want? I was like, hey, I was just like trying to see the schedule and whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, no worries. Our coach is teaching class right now. He'll be out in a second. And then when he was done teaching class, he came over and talked to me. He's like, hey man, what can I help you? And they're just welcoming, you know. And there's just an energy about some people that's just like it's pretty like you can tell people's intentions by their energy sometimes, you know. And it's just kind of like, oh man, this guy's like cool. And then I see the fighters, they look pretty legit, like the people training. And then he's like, so what do you want? And I was like, man, I want to fight in 3 months. And this was, to me, this is kind of like to get over a relationship thing. I wanted to fight on like that anniversary where we got together. And I was just like, so it was like a few months before, and I was like, in 3 months I want to fight, and if I can win this fight, I can beat anything, because it was really weighing down on me at the time. Yeah. And so he's like, oh, and I tell him, I was like, hey, I just want sparring partners. I need strength. I need this and that, because I'm answering questions that other gyms had asked me. So I'm telling him, I want to spar people. I need you in my corner. I need this and that, and just let me know how much it is. And just like, oh, he's like, whoa, slow down. He's like, I don't even know you. Like, let's get you on the mat. Let's see what you do. And everything you're talking about, it's gonna take a long time for you to get there. You may not even spar for 3 months. I was like, oh hell no, that's not. And it's like, I have fights on YouTube. I swear, like I'll show you if you can watch them. Like I fought before. I have experience and whatever. I plead my case, but I definitely, like, I know now that I walked in like an arrogant person, you know. And it's kind of embarrassing to talk about that first story. But now that my coach, you know, I love my coach and everything, and vice versa. But in that first experience, it was kind of like, okay, wow, that guy was cool. That was a cool experience. And then the next day I go in, I take class, I'm trying super hard. He's like, okay, we might have something here. Then he has me into sparring, and I'm sloppy as hell, of course. But he's like, okay, like sloppy, but we can do something with this. And then he eased me, and then there was another fighter who had a fight coming up, and he's like, fight camp is starting up, and blah, blah, blah. And then I go over, and it was supposed to be like 5 a.m. or something. And I was like, hey, coach, you think I could come to that fight camp thing, like, and help get ready? And they're like, yeah, for sure. Why not? And whatever. And people didn't think I was going to show up. And I did. And I was the only person, even on the fight team at the time. It was the fighter who was getting ready, and nobody else that was supposed to help him showed up. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, kid. And I kept showing up. And that was like often me and the other fighters. So I got a lot of brownie points with the coach and the fighter, you know? So it was cool. We're working out together and whatever. And then a big thing, I think, that changed my coach's mind is that I could control my sparring. A lot of people go in there aggro and whatever and blah, blah, blah. But there was one morning where he wanted light sparring. He's like, hey, can you just touch him up, you know, like give him some looks, don't hurt him. We just need to keep it nice and controlled. And I did exactly that. And he's just like, all right, we think you got something, you know? And then, so within, he told me like 6 months to a year before I ever fight, and it'll probably be whatever. Like, he just gave me these like really long timelines, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna be champion in a year. And so he gave me several opportunities for like the PKB smoker type stuff, sanctioned smokers, and it just didn't work out. They just kept falling through. And about 8 months
Dude,
in,
that must be so frustrating to like be preparing for a smoker, and you show up and the fucking fighter doesn't show up.
Yeah,
well, like the fight falls through like
I
last
didn't even make
second.
it that far. Like the whole event would just fall apart.
Okay,
like
okay.
a week out, 2 weeks out, and it doesn't happen. Or there's rumors and it doesn't happen.
And why doesn't it happen? Because there's not enough fighters, or what?
I don't know. Something funky was going on
I'm
at
sure
the
there's
time.
a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
like that, no fighters, or the venue falls through.
Yeah, or insurance is a big part of it sometimes. Or it's very weird.
He's so pissed, dude.
I mean,
Seriously.
But the thing was, I was like, okay, I'm on his radar. Like that was really important to me. I'm on his radar. Cool.
Yeah.
And then after that, I decided to. I'm just gonna show up every day. Like, dude, I was 210 pounds when I walked into that gym. In a month, I was 180. Like in a month, I was showing up day and night, twice a day, 3 times a day, whatever. Like, it hurt to walk.
I have a question. When you go to gyms like that, bro, like, is it like a Muay Thai one day? Is it boxing another? Is it wrestling the next? Like,
my gym is a Muay Thai niche.
Okay.
My coach is he started Muay Thai more recently in his life, but his coach Jong Sonoma has been training and fighting in Thailand for a long time. He fought in what they call the Golden Era.
Dude, we haven't even gotten into Thailand.
Yeah, bro. Dude, there's a lot of stuff here, man. You might have some editing on your hands, dog.
No, not even, bro. I'm just saying
This is good. This is all good, bro.
Okay, so that was your first experience there. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
And that's really when you jump-started your fighting career with Phase 3?
And that was after the whole auto parts or whatever. You working with cars. Okay.
Yeah, I never took a job with. The closest I got was tinting windows while I was in school, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
So throughout this whole thing, like obviously you need money to pay for membership, right? Mm-hmm. And then you need money to obviously buy groceries and take care of yourself and pay for gas. Like where do you get your money from?
I just took handyman jobs. Like
Can you hold it closer?
Hold it closer. My bad. I took handyman jobs, and I was living with my parents. I live with my family, and they're like, okay, you can live here. You know, of course, they'd rather have me live there. You know, we're Mexican.
So Mexican parents are.
Yeah, they're like, you're moving?
Mama, I want to get out.
Yeah,
why?
Yeah. They like lock the door and throw the key away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. No, my parents. Never mind, and we'll get to that later. Anyways, but
that's a story for another podcast.
But yeah, they tell me like, you can live here, whatever. And then I didn't even have a car at the time, I think, or whatever. So my brother was actually letting me borrow his car, so he'd get off of his high school, whatever, or after football practice or whatever he had going on. He would let me borrow his car, or my mom would let me borrow their car, or whatever. And I didn't even have my own car. I was borrowing their car to go over it, and I was working in the day just enough to pay my gym membership and pay my gas. That was it. And I didn't care about anything else. I just made enough to get by. Dude, I was making maybe $100, $200 a week. if that.
Just pay for everything.
Yeah, and on a good week I'd make 300. You know, like, but it was like very minimal.
Like, babe, I'm rich.
Yeah.
What's your dinner on me, babe?
Yeah. Going to McDonald's tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can get large popcorn this time.
He rings you up. On second thought, give me medium popcorn. Give me a
Oh,
medium.
it's that much?
All right, no drink though.
Struggle's real, bro.
Oh, bro, it's been like that. But yeah, that's what I was doing just to get by. And then when it came to like fight camp, I was like, okay, like, well, okay. So for 8 months I'm training there. I lose a lot of weight. I'm there, dude. I'm like a fly in the guy's face. I remember, I went to go see Russ. And you know Russ, like the artist Russ. I went to go
the
see,
rapper.
Yeah. I went to go see him like 2 weeks after.
I thought you were talking about your boy. I was like, do I know Russ?
No, like the rapper Russ. And like 2 weeks into my
concert.
gym, I already had the tickets, and I called him. I was like frantic. I was like, hey man, like I'm not gonna be there. Like I'm sorry, but and like I won't be there for a few days, and because of this and that, whatever reason. And he didn't pick up. He didn't even hear from me. But I went to these shows. I actually met Russ one time I went to see him 3 times that week.
Where
I met
at?
him in Santa Cruz.
Oh, shit.
I saw him twice in Santa Cruz and once in Oakland that week. And I
You
met
saw him 3 times in 1 week?
Yeah, dude.
What the fuck?
Dude,
Jesus.
Was it like
dude,
part of the ticket package?
No, dude. Like for me, it's like when I support someone, I support somebody. And,
Okay.
and listening to his music and stuff, it really helped. It really inspired me. And like the things that he says in his lyrics, and especially at that point in time when he was dropping like the single and like talking about his struggle, and I'm listening to his interviews, and I'm just like, when I
Dude,
support somebody,
around that time, my freshman year at Sonoma, he would drop a song every week.
Yeah.
And he would drop some, like when you
Really?
drop a song about Steph Curry when he was in college and shit like that, like every single week. And I would only hear about him on SoundCloud.
yeah.
And then when he blew up, I was like, oh, damn, I remember that guy.
Yeah, dude.
Talk about how you met him. What was that like?
Dude, it was pretty sweet. Like, it was funny because I remember I think I followed him because like I thought he was like an entrepreneur thing or something. I might have followed him off of like I like a link in bio from his YouTube or whatever. And then like I remember he was just posting like pictures in Italy with his mom or something, and his hair freaking long, whatever.
Yeah, he's long hair.
And then I was just like, oh, that's sick. And I thought, and then I clicked like, oh, new music, and I was like, oh, listen to that. And then I was like, I was like, dude, this is like the truth, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, it's dropping like Manifest, Young God. There was like that era where he hadn't even dropped the album yet.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He was a producer first, no? Or he would make music for other people and then
Yeah.
he kind of hopped on it and started making music himself?
Yeah, definitely. Like he started as like producing, and then he moved into like doing some hooks here and there, but with his friend. And then after that, he decided just on a whim went out and asked his brother and asked his friend. That's 2 different people, and they just nonchalantly said yeah, like with no doubt in their mind. So he decided to start rapping, and then the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's consistent and stuff, and I just I never heard someone talk about stuff like that in music, and that was so relevant and accepted so well, because I think I listened to people like that when I was in high school and stuff, but like they never hit, you know, like they never got popular. So I was kind of always rooting for the underdog, and that was kind of like a thing.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
underground music was your thing. I remember that.
Yeah. So then when this guy came out, and he was accepted, and I was like, dude, I gotta meet this guy. Like I gotta meet him. And the first time, like I think I heard about him like 2 weeks before he had a show in Sacramento, and I went to Sacramento without a ticket because it was sold out, and I just went there. I was like, maybe they'll just let me in. Maybe I can buy a ticket like a scalper or whatever. They'll sell me a ticket or whatever.
Yeah.
And I went there, and then the guy was like, no, we are way overbooked. We sold way too many tickets. We're actually gonna have to kick some people out and whatever. So as bus pulled up, I walked away. I was like, oh man, like there's no way I'm gonna get in. And it was like a small like little show. I think it might have been like 200 max people or whatever.
This is in Sacramento?
In Sacramento, like early, way before I even got to see him. Maybe like a year before I saw him. And but yeah, I saw him in Santa Cruz with one of my homies that I met in UTI in Sacramento. And the first night we got to meet him, and bro, I was like, dude, like,
How was that? Like, was it like a meet and greet? Or
yeah, dude.
Okay.
It was, I met him for $50.
Really?
Yeah, I think like the
Sick.
ticket was like $70, like with the ticket and meet and greet or something.
70
$70?
bucks?
Yeah, something like
That's
that. Yeah, dude, like the tickets for his shows now are freaking above 200 or whatever, you know, just for like.
Yeah, I'm
crazy.
sure.
What was it like? You like in line waiting to meet him?
Yeah, and me and my friend, we were like, we'll just be last. That way we can take our time and we can talk to him and stuff, you know. And so we did that, and it was like the day before Valentine's Day or something, or Valentine's Day. I don't know. I remember we were like, while we were waiting, we'd be like flirting with girls and whatever, you know, doing concert stuff. And then, yeah, we were just chilling, and we got to meet him. I was like, bro, like, dude, you have no idea. Like I got started on my words. I was just like tripping over. Like even thinking about it.
What's he like? Or what was the interaction?
He just chill,
like?
dude. Is like super like stoic and mellow and chill. He's just like, yo. He's like, yeah. Like I remember like like he said, it's like, dude, it's all about the manifest, bro. Like kind of like a surfer in a surfer manner. I was like, it's all about the manifest, man. Like you just believe in what you're doing, and you're gonna make it, man. That's what it is. You see what I'm doing, and I was like, yeah. He's like,
all right, later, bro.
Yeah, and dude, like I was so like starstruck. I didn't know like what to say, and I wanted to tell him so much more. And I was like, oh, I didn't get to tell him. But I was like, but I met Russ, and I got the picture. So I guess it is what it is, you know.
You got the picture. That's all that matters.
It happened. I was doubting that story until you said you had a picture.
Yeah, I scroll way down on the Instagram, you know.
Hell yeah.
But nah, man, like it's definitely someone I wanted me to get, you know. It's like it really it goes hand in hand with my story. Like I kind of met him when my life was at a point where I needed it. And now where did I have his book? I listen to his audiobook every time. Like I carry his book around. Like I've gifted it to a lot of people. Like he's someone that's important to me, you know, like that message that he brings out. And I forgot where we were going with this, but
where were we going?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I was telling my coach like, hey, I won't be there. Like,
that's right.
Because I was gonna, and he's like, hey, like I don't care if you don't show up for one day. He's like, I care about our relationship in 10 years. Like, yeah, you can show up every day for a week. You can show up every day for a month. But what's our relationship look like in 6 months? What's it look like in a year? What's it look like in 10 years? And then that hit me. I was like, okay, cool. And then I remember I went to EDC that year. So I was like, okay, coach, I'm going to take this weekend off. But I was already there like every day, like night and day, whenever I could be.
Yeah.
And
I feel like as long as you communicated ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like
That's most
consistency. And then it's like, hey, like in 2 weeks, like I got this going on. Like I'm going to be absent for 2-3 days.
Yeah. But I was so new he didn't care. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like he didn't care, but it was like he's like, I get what you're trying to do, but like I get it, but like I see people like you all the time. People come and go, and I get that. Like now that I've been there for a long time, people do that all the time. They come and go. So the fact that I did it, I think it's stuck out. And so I remember before my first fight, he's like, "Hey, you want to fight?" And it was 2 weeks before the fight, and I was like, "Yeah, you mean it?" Like, oh, dude, I was so juiced. Like, you swear? He's like, calm down. Like, bro, I was just like, are you serious? Like, bro, I don't know if I've ever been like, well, I have been that excited. Like, you know, later down the story, but like, dude, I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, calm down. He's like, you know, this is the weight and whatever. And I was like, what do you weigh in? Because I saw him offer it to the other people, but they just weren't ready. I was always ready on a drop of a dime. I could be ready. He's like, okay, let's do it. I was doing everything he would tell the fighters to do. He would whisper, he would tell them, and I would do it. He wouldn't know I was doing it. I would just do it. I'd be, all right, hey coach, you told them to get this, I got it, but it doesn't work. He's like, what? I didn't tell you to, you know, like I didn't tell you to do this. So like I was kind of like a standout a little bit in that sense, but it was like honestly, it could have been more annoying, to be honest. Like, oh man, come on, man, why are you doing this? Like, I could see it being annoying in a sense, you know, but yeah, so 8 months in, he offers me this fight, and I was like, okay, let's do this. And there was another guy at the gym that was fighting too, who like everyone knew him and stuff, and like, so there was a large crowd that was going to go see him, and I just so happened to be fighting, you know. And the guy I fought was like freaking at least 6'4", if not 6'6". Like I think his stat said 6'6" or something. And at 172 pounds, I weighed 172 pounds when he offered me the fight. Holy shit! So I didn't have to cut weight or anything. And this guy was supposed to be some coach at his gym. At the gym where he trained at. And I was like, I don't care, I'll beat him and whatever. And dude, so I weigh in and do whatever. This is the funny part, because like the day of, like a bunch of people actually came. Actually, Adrian came. I think Adrian and Danny Gaona came.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yante and Juan. And
this is in Sac?
Yeah, and the younger Duran brother, not Gus, but the other
Esteban?
Esteban. Yeah, he came.
What?
Yeah, dude, like, and Alex and Jordan, like Espinoza.
Okay.
And like there were some people that came through. I was like, oh, sick, you know.
Yeah.
And then there was people from my gym, and dude, I remember like not feeling anything, and not feeling nervous at all. And I was like, this is weird. Like I usually like, dude, and like before fights, like I wouldn't show it, but I would feel numbness in my forearms. My legs would be like tingly, like I couldn't feel like anything. Like I was just so nerve wracking. And then I get in there, and it was just felt like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, bro, I felt like euphoric. Like I can't explain the feeling, but it was just like something that it was like otherworldly. And dude, I get in there, and I remember like I didn't get it was an outdoor event, and they had to wait for the sun to go down. And it was like in the fall, so it was taking forever. Yeah, it was outdoor ring and lights and stuff. And they had
that is sick, huh? That's a vibe.
Yeah, it was.
Damn, that's fucking dope.
It was awesome, man. And then after we did that, so I had ended up fights like 11 or something, like 10 or 11. And that was like the third fight from the main event because I was fighting so heavy. And I get out there and I remember watching this fight and I'm like sitting there and it's just lagging. And my opponent's kind of being a little bit weird, like wants to like be where I'm at and like wants to see me like hit stuff. And it's weird. He's just, you get separate dressing rooms. You're supposed to be on this side of the room or that side of the room. You're not supposed to watch each other or be around each other,
Yeah.
So it was a little bit weird. I didn't care though. And then I remember because we come from upstairs, then we walk down some stairs, and then we walk down a little path, and we go to the ring. Mm-hmm. And I remember like being at the top of the stairs, and I was like, they're like, all right, you're on deck, get ready. And we're just like standing outside the stairs. I looked at the ring, and I just raised my hands. I was just like sitting there. I was just kind of like, yeah, like dude, I was just doing that. I just lifted my hands up, and it just felt right. Like I was just like, yeah, and I was just like sitting there above, watching the fight before me, and like watching them get their hand raised. And I was like, all right, I go down there, and I actually walked out to Russ's Young God. And mostly because the fact it's like you don't have to love me, but you're gonna have to fuck with me. Like the chorus was just like, yeah, I was like, this is gonna be this is exactly what's gonna happen right now, And so I walk out there with my hand raised, and I remember like some of the people that went told me like, oh, quick fight, because I was short and chubby, and there's this guy that's like shredded and tall,
right,
and whatever, and it's like older and whatever, and then they announced this, and like I was so excited, like before the fight, like, are you fighting with the shirt on? I forgot to take my shirt off, like I was just so juiced to be in the ring in there, like, and I was like, all right,
cool. Shoes on,
yeah, dude, I was so unprepared, and then like I walked, and then like. As soon as the ring is like, fight, you ready? And I was like, yeah. And then we touched gloves. And I was, dude, and my coach told me the game plan was like, I just want you to throw an overhand right and leg kick. Overhand right and leg kick. So overhand is like a big loopy punch because he was so much taller. I can't hit him straight.
Right.
I would hit his chest.
He's way too tall.
Yeah, I'd hit his belly button. He's so tall. Yeah. Or his nips or something, So I was looping overhand, swing up, and kick his leg out. So that way he can't put weight on his front leg and he can't move. And I did just that, dude. I came out, was just like, bop, bop. I was like, bop, bop, bop. And then I hit him, and I was like, whoa. Like, remember, like, within 15 seconds, we did one exchange, and I was like, whoa, let's go. And I started, like, swinging like a maniac, dude, and started just, like, kicking frantically at his leg, and throwing overhands. And everyone was like, whoa. And I could hear people cheering, and I was like, oh, I've never felt that before. And I'm just, like, getting all amped up.
All
like,
the energy, bro.
Yeah, and everyone was like, yeah, let's go. That's right. Keep going. And I hear the cheering. And every exchange is here, my heightened sense in a fight is, like, my hearing. Like some people, they can like see crazy or like they feel something, Right. But for me, I can hear everything. Like even in the crowd, I could hear like in almost individual voices sometimes. Mm-hmm. But for that one, I was just like, yeah, let's go. Like, banging him up. I'm talking to him. I was doing like some Roy Jones Jr. I was like moving my hands and like moving my head, and he'd be like missing like bad, and like be throwing kicks and missing bad, and then you just see me like bop bop bop, and then like was wailing on him. I throw like a spinning back fist, so like I fake my right kick. Because I stand with my left foot forward, I fake my right kick, and then my left hand comes around and like in a circle, like in a tornado motion, and I hit him in the head, and everyone goes crazy, dude. And I was like, oh no way! And I was like, great, everyone goes crazy. And I hear my coach going, ah, and it's like, dude, energy was just like, it was just like so electrifying. It was like addicting, man. I was like, I was like under the influence or something. Like it was just like. Like for real, otherworldly. Like it was just like this is where I belong. And I didn't want it to end, man. And I ended up winning this fight very decisively. Like he couldn't stand by the end of it. I knocked his mouthpiece out in the third round. I teeped him down. Like remember, a teep is a front kick. So you stick your left leg out and you push out in front of him as your opponent walks in, and you try to hit him like on the chest or in the stomach to keep distance. Yeah. But I hit him so hard that he fell on his butt. And I remember I did that, and I was like, woo! And I threw some uppercuts, and then they had me go to the corner. Like, I was like, whoa! I was so psyched. I was like, let's go. And then at the end, like the very last like exchange that we did, I like hit him. I was moving forward, and then he was like kind of like threw like a lazy punch, and I was like, okay, I think I could dodge that. I like stuck my head out, and he threw a punch, and I ducked my head back, and then he missed hella bad, and then I hit him, and I just kept doing that, and then I was like, and I just like kept like hitting him, but I was like missing, and I would like stick my head out, got like kind of like cocky. And, like,
you're getting cocky. That's exactly what I was about to say.
And then and then did the last thing. I think it's like ding ding ding. The round's over, and then the cameraman's like, did it really just do that shit? Like, dude, it was just like, and then after that, bro, I was so excited, man. Like, my coach is like, what the hell just happened? I never had a fighter like that just come out and destroy people. I come out of the ring, the fight doctor is like checking me out, whatever. I was like, and he's like, hey, stay here. And I was like, wait, I thought like the medical stuff was done, like my checkup was done. He's like, my son wants to take a picture with you. And I was like, oh. Dude, what? Like someone wants to meet me? Like that's freaking crazy, Like, bro, like this for the first time in my life. I was like, I've been accepted. Like this is what I've been wanting my whole life. Like this is like, wow. I feel like I'm doing what I want to do. I'm good at it. Like the energy, like being on stage, like performing, like I'm an entertainer there, you know? And it was like having the roar, having that rush. Like it was like I grew up seeing my dad in these arenas and stadiums and doing something else, of course, but like it's like, oh man, I'm like fulfilling this and I'm doing what I want to do. Like this is exactly what it's supposed to feel like. Like this is it, you know? And man, and then other people like are stopping me and they're like, "Hey man, good job." And my coach is trying to get me to the dressing room. He's like, "Hey man, good job," and whatever. It was like I was like getting caught up in the moment. I want to talk to everybody, bro. I was like,
coach, relax, man. If you want to take a picture with me,
I was like a
great
puppy.
Feeling.
I was like a puppy, dude. You know how puppies just want to go up to everyone and like smell? Dude, that's how I was afterwards, man. I was like, "Do you want to talk? All right, cool. What's up?" And I was just being like, dude, I was so juiced. And then yeah, man. Then from then I went on to be undefeated for my first 3 fights in 4 months. I was always ready. That fight I took on 2 weeks. The next fight took I think on 4 weeks, and then I actually fractured that guy's orbital, cracked his orbital, and he had to get like a plate put in his eye. That was pretty crazy. I felt bad, but it was a really nice guy.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, how does that feel when you're like fighting a complete stranger? Like, I'm sure outside of the ring, he's a completely nice guy. You talk about respect beforehand. You touch gloves. You guys, I'm sure, are cordial outside of it. Like, it's a professional environment. Like, when you're asked to just kind of switch it on and just try to hurt someone, like, is that easy or is it difficult? Like,
sometimes.
Because I feel like it would be difficult to like hurt somebody and know it's like, fuck, like they want the same thing I do.
It was a lot easier at first. I have a little bit harder of a time now, but it's just like I'm fighting my style now too. So you go through waves, you know. Like at first I was just kind of like stupid, just hit him because if I hit him I'll win. And then I finally got outskilled like within a year. Funny because I said I wanted to be a champion in a year, right? Let me just say my third fight was on 2 days' notice. I lost 16 pounds and ended up winning that. You know, it was just like, then I walked out to John Cena during that song and I took it on, I took it on 2 days notice. There's this guy who looks like the Predator, just shredded, just yoked out.
Holy shit.
And then that was my first big cut. I lost 16 pounds in 2 days and I go there, I walk out to John Cena. He was like, dude, and I was like, and I walk out, and I was like, have my hand raised.
Shoots out of the sky, Rey Mysterio.
Bro, it was hilarious, and I won.
Bro, how do you take a fight on 2 days' notice? Like,
I'd be like, you know what, man, I'm good.
Besides you just saying want to, like, obviously you got your coach behind you, right? And he's just saying, all right, like, he's saying this is good, like, let's do this. At 2 days' notice, that's insane.
It is, but I just wanted it, man. Like, I wanted to get, dude, I was addicted, man. I just wanted to be in there.
Right.
Like, and once you feel something like that, there's no going back, man. Like, it's just incredible.
I'm sure it's very addicting, that feeling of adrenaline.
Yeah.
You get the same, like, obviously it's not the same with fighting in sports, but like one little minor example is like the alumni game. You score a goal and everyone there's watching us, there to watch us lose, bro.
Ice in my veins, bro.
And the other people celebrating is our homies and the teammates, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's I feel like that's very minimal compared to like a fight and you're the man and everyone's there to watch you.
Right, because that one, it's you,
and
yeah.
And it's
primal.
like the most, it's the most pure form of competition.
Yeah.
It's like you're imposing your will on another human being. Like, it doesn't get more competitive than that.
Right.
Like, that's fucking it, you know? Like, that's such an alpha move. Like, I end my showers with cold water because I'm an alpha. Dude, that's lit.
That's loud, man. Yeah.
So you went 3 undefeated and then what happened? Or
I went 3 undefeated. Then I went to Mexico for a month, and that was kind of like my little break because my body was hurting, man. Like I was like in peak shape for a long time. And
so Mexico was for a break.
Yeah. You're not supposed to do that.
Okay.
You're not supposed to be in peak shape forever.
Yeah.
So that's how I got injured a lot. I got injured a lot doing that.
I bet, dude.
And so when I got my first title fight was in 14 months of starting training. So within like I fought. Actually, the date I wanted to fight originally, when I first walked into the gym a year ago, it was May 4th. It was that day, same day and everything. Like, I was just like, I ended up losing the fight. It was my first, I ended up fighting for the Northern California state title, the one I just won, just before COVID. I fought for that already.
And during this time, what kind of fighting is this? Is this MMA or is it kickboxing?
Kickboxing.
Okay, it's kickboxing. Muay Thai.
My coach made me a deal that if I get a championship in Muay Thai, that we can talk about MMA.
And what weight class do you prefer to fight at? During this time, okay, not prefer, but during this time, what class were you fighting at?
At this time, I was fighting at... I started at 72. First 2 at 72. My third one at 160. And then for the title, it was 159. And I've kind of gone all over the place. I've gone 53. I just won the 59 title.
What do you prefer?
I'm still figuring that out. That's why I haven't gone pro yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Honestly, would it be convenient for me to take a piss right now?
No, you're good. Yeah.
We're chilling.
All right, cool. I gotta take a piss.
All right,
Pretty
go.
bad.
Okay. Go for it.
I'll do it before this. It's probably gonna be like, damn, that guy has to take a piss.
Now, what's wrong with that guy? Why is he
We're
rocking back and
gonna
forth?
leave this in here.
Yeah. Don't even worry about it.
All right.
Ready whenever you are, Robbie.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
Bring it a little bit closer.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So what class do you fight at? What weight class do you fight at?
I'm still trying to figure that out. That's why I haven't gone pro yet. Right now, I started at 72. I fought 60. I fought for 2 titles at 59. I fought for a world title at 53. Lost that one. And right now I'm gonna fight. I'm getting ready to fight in 6 weeks at 147. So we're really trying to get me under the 150 because the people that I've been fighting are so freaking tall. And I just
Okay, so those that don't know, I know because I watch fighting. Like, talk about the weight classes. Talk about the advantages of weight cuts. Talk about what weight cuts are, the purpose of it. Like, just explain, break it down for those that don't know. For Gabe. For Gabe.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, bro. Relax.
Like, why? Like, so the people that are listening that may not know about fighting, like, when you're like, oh, that guy was like 6'6", that guy was 6'4", like, bigger guys, like, this guy was shredded. It's like, why are you fighting these big-ass guys? Explain that.
I'm fighting them because, okay, so weight cutting is meant to give you an advantage, right? It's big in wrestling. It's big in many sports that are combat based, because sometimes you're like 6'6", but you're 160 pounds. Sometimes you're 5'7", like myself, and 160 pounds. But that 6'6" guy doesn't want to fight a 240 pound 6'6" guy.
The way he's supposed to be or that he walks around at.
Yeah, so you're gonna be seeing like these huge people fighting these skinny people because of their same height. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So that's why they have to base it off of weight. And it's supposed to give you a competitive advantage. The more you can cut and then be mentally strong enough or whatever, or fuel yourself up the next day. So the next weight, a lot of people try to do like big, it's not so popular anymore, to be like 20, 30 pounds heavier the next day. So you weigh in at 55, but you're 180 the next day.
Yeah, you walk around at 180,
insane.
190, and you cut down to 155.
Yeah.
Is it all just water weight, right?
Well, some of it's a little bit of fat. Like I definitely have a lot of, like, the reason I feel comfortable going lower is because I have a lot of fat in my stomach. So like in 6 weeks I lose most of that, and then I just dehydrate. Sometimes I dehydrate for the last like 5-10 or something. But I haven't had to do that lately. I've been getting a lot better at cutting weight. So that's why we want to go down way lower. So 47, maybe even 42. We're just going to see how this next cut goes.
Okay, so talk about the weight cut. Talk about what weight you want to be at before you cut. Like, how do you regulate that? Because obviously it's broken down to a science.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Weechi about that, like the whole nutritionist. It's like it's
Right, yeah.
very science based. Like what kind of stuff you're supposed to be putting in your body, what weight you're supposed to be at. Like, talk about how you manage that. What method you use to weight cut.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, like I just make a big caloric deficit because, if you burn more than when you take in,
You just starve yourself.
Yeah. So this last one I was a little bit better. Like I was getting everything I needed. Like I take supplements, of course. I drink my gallon or 2 of water a day, and I get good recovery. I get good rest. But my coach just told me like, eat like this. So it was like egg whites, broccoli, spinach, greens and stuff, high in protein, carbs, sugars, like kind of get it all from the greens and stuff. And then some protein, some chicken or whatever. No red meat, white meat, fish or whatever. But honestly, like it would be hard to tell you that without really going into like nutrition stuff. And even I'm not that good at it. Like but right now I'm doing things that make me feel good. That's it. Like for this last fight that I had, I drank a smoothie in the morning and then a couple protein bars. And then at lunch I would eat as much spinach salad with some chicken, as much I'd have like a couple fistfuls of chicken, like my fist size, and then I would eat, if I wasn't full, I would just eat more greens and drink water. That was my diet, and I would intermittent fast, so I would be burning the fat throughout the day.
What was your window for intermittent fasting?
It's like 14 to 18 hours.
14 to 18 hours.
Yeah, something.
Is that good?
Yeah, 18 hours is like on the high end of things.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I've done. Dude, one time I had to do such a bad cut. Oh God, it sucked. It was okay. And we're not talking about Thailand yet, but when I got back from Thailand, my first fight back, I thought I was gonna fight at 42, but this sanctioning body's website sucks so bad. Like, dude, it's like something out of like 1999.
Outdated.
Way outdated. And so I thought I was fighting at 150. I was like, I registered at 42. Why do they have me at 53? 153 pounds. And then I was like, And then I'm like, I'm fighting at 53. I'll be fine. So in Thailand, I'm having a fucking ball, right? Like, I'm eating good.
You're eating good, yeah.
Bro,
enjoying yourself.
Sitting there at the titty bars, like, hey, give me some more of these.
Bro, I'm good. Keep it coming.
Well, the thing, bro, is that being out there is like, I paid like $1,300 for my stay. So that's training, accommodation, and food. And they feed
Let's not get into Thailand yet. We'll get into it in a second.
But it doesn't take away from anything. So like that's what I pay. So coming back, it just helps the food story. So I'm getting fed twice a day, and they gave me 2 big ass portions of food. So I'm getting like a big ass plate of this and a big ass plate of this.
I remember you telling me about this.
And then I was eating those meals, and then I'd still go out and eat. I'd still go out with my homies and go to like the corner and eat like whatever. And
Hey,
like,
you're living your best life.
Oh, dude, I was. And I was like, I can make it. I've done this cut before, whatever. And so I got back, and then, bro, I had to lose like. And it turns out I was fighting at 42, and I was like, oh no.
So you were thinking you were at 153. You're going to be fighting at 153.
And I got back, and all the water weight from the plane too. I was like 190 plus.
Jesus.
When I got back, and I had to fight at 42. Dude, I was so bad.
That's dangerous.
Holy crap.
It was, yeah. I lost 36 pounds.
Did you make
in a
it,
week
though?
and a half. No, I did not.
36 pounds in a week and a half.
Yeah.
Bro, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Dude, I lost
36 pounds in a week and a half. Just like think about that, bro. Like you're 180 or whatever.
You were
freaking
150
dropping.
something?
Think about a 15-pound dumbbell. That's pretty heavy, right?
Bro.
Yeah.
I took that off my body.
So what did you do?
Twice.
Besides, did you just you starve yourself? You what
Starve
was that?
myself. Intermittent fasting. Like I would have one big meal and then just like 24 hours.
And you
no
would
eat.
train?
Yeah, what was your workout? Yeah, what were you
so
working out?
I was training hard, running like upwards of 6 to 10 miles a day.
You had to, man.
I had to, and
yeah.
then I was eating one meal at lunch because I was like, at lunch it's the middle of the day. Like I can survive the morning. I'll eat lunch, and then I'll give me enough time to like because I was fine on water, and I was like, I'll just get to training, and that'll give me the energy in training. Like I'll have like the middle of the day is like the sweet spot, I think, and I can eat as much as I want because I can still.
You want to wait like 2 to 3 hours before you work out, and so it can digest and you feel good, and
I can digest all the sugars and everything and whatever.
So you would eat once a day, or
once a day. So it's 24 hours.
But you just go all out one time, yeah.
Yeah, and
and you get filled. You feel full faster once you're doing the intermittent fasting.
especially
I feel
with
like,
water.
Yeah, I think your stomach starts expanding. Yeah, it shrinks exactly. Yeah.
So so I was just like I was doing that, and then like leading up to the cut, I didn't eat for like 2 days. And then the last day I had to do no food, no water, and cut the weight. And I was only losing like, bro, like it was so bad, man. Like I got there and I was like, dude, that's the first and only time I've ever missed weight. Like and that was because I didn't like this miscommunication.
Yeah.
And like I make weight, like that's like that. I don't miss weight. You know,
Right.
I'm not gonna let somebody else. Not only am I letting myself and my team down, but somebody else got ready for this. You know, I'm not gonna let them down to be doing this. You know, like that's so unprofessional.
So if you miss weight, like what are the repercussions if you don't make it? What can
As
happen?
an amateur, nothing really, but as a professional, like in the UFC, I think you take like a third
They take
or half.
I think it's like 10% of their purse.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, and even if you win, the performance bonus goes to the person who made weight. Like if you get like a performance bonus or something like.
It's pretty shitty. Like what if me and you agreed to fight at 155?
Yeah.
And let's just say I'm cutting, like I walk around more than you do, so my weight cut's gonna be tougher. But I decide not to make weight. You killed yourself to make weight, and it's a disadvantage. It's like
That's what I'm saying. Like, could you just like say, "Well, I'm not gonna fight you anymore"? Like, you didn't make weight.
I think you can, right? Don't you have the option to like?
But who wants to do that?
Right.
It's like a bitch move. It's like a macho move.
And I get that,
like,
yeah. But at the same time, it's like if you're fighting for like a belt, you're fighting for something like super.
If you're fighting for a belt,
You
you
don't
can't
win
fight
it.
for the belt. Yep.
You fight still, but you don't win the belt.
Yeah.
Oh,
That happened with
okay.
Davidson Figueiredo and
That makes sense.
fucking guy from Team Alpha Male, good guy, dating Megan Levy.
Cody.
No, what's his
I don't
name?
know. Dude, I'm such a
small,
casual.
small Mexican dude. He's dating Megan O'Leary. He's a husband with Megan.
I don't even know who that is.
He lost twice to him.
Dude, I don't
They
know.
fought for the vacant 125, and then Davidson Figueiredo missed weight. So the only way that there was going to be a winner was if this fool won, and he lost.
But
So then there was no champion. They had to do the rematch. What's his name, bro? I know his name.
Dude, I'm such a casual. Like I know maybe the top 10 of like the 55 and down. Maybe.
Oh my god, this is gonna bother me,
It's
dude.
all good, man. If you think of it, you just blurt it out.
I don't know. We're
What's
just
that?
in the
right
middle
now,
of a
I'm gonna fact
conversation.
check
bro,
myself
just
right now.
boom,
Hey, Google that shit, Jamie. Hey, wait,
Bro,
where's Jamie, dog?
That's why we need somebody, bro. We need somebody to just get all these facts for us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I forgot. But yeah, weight cutting, like, it's not really, like, I'm just getting it down to how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm doing my own research. I'm following my coach's guidance, kind of blending it in with myself a little bit. So I'm just trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure out what weight I should be fighting at as a professional. I know I should be fighting under 150 because the guys.
Joseph Benavides.
Dude,
Oh wow. Okay. Fuck, that was gonna bother me. I'm sorry, guys. Continue. Sorry, continue your story. I cut you off.
I just gotta find a weight that suits me. So I know for a professional under 150 because I just fought at the beginning of the month. I fought at it's called the U.S. Muay Thai Open, and it's like a pretty big deal. It's like a national championship, and it's an 8-man bracket that we had. Well, it was supposed to be 8-man, but it was 6, and I was in like the bad part of the bracket where I had to fight twice to get to the championship, and the guy I fought only had to fight once. But
was it like was he ranked higher or was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
He was like 30-8 when we started the tournament,
Jesus.
and by the time he finished, he was 33-8. So. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude. And I barely made it was the A class, and I
Bro,
barely
I want to
made
hear
it.
about that. But I want to hear about Thailand.
Yeah, we'll hear about
So
Thailand
we talked
first, and then
about
we'll
finding
go
your gym, your fights before.
Yeah.
How did you make that transition to Thailand?
Oh yeah, that's
What
a good
connections?
one, actually.
What connections did you have to Thailand? How did you get your place over there? Like,
Dude, yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you even go about setting that
That's
up?
crazy.
Logistically speaking, like, because obviously everybody has a dream, like, oh, I want to go to Mexico and play soccer. You know, obviously
Sure.
over there, that's I wouldn't say the hub, but compared to the U.S., it's like they're way more advanced in the sport of soccer. Thailand is way more advanced in the sport of Muay Thai.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where it originated. That's the hub. If you want to learn how to be a good Muay Thai fighter, you go there and you learn.
Right.
And you see professional fighters in the UFC go there and they transform their game, their fighting style.
Yeah.
So how do you even get that idea in your head? How do you go about doing it? Where do you get the funds? Logistically speaking, how do you set it up? Like, talk about everything.
All right. So I started, like, I'd always kind of heard that Thailand was like the main place. Even when I was training here in Fort Bragg, like my coach here told me. Yeah. And he's like, if you want to get good, go to Thailand. And I was like, okay. And I was like, hey, all right,
sure.
And I was never like a world traveler type, you know. I was never someone who was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to this. I want to visit this place. Like, as a kid, like I remember I wanted to go to Brazil because to do capoeira, which is like their form of martial art. So I remember like I wanted to visit the culture, but I never thought it was possible.
Right.
So once I don't know, I started losing. That's what really did it for me. It's like I went to Thailand and there was whispers of people going for my gym. So I decided, it's like, oh yeah, I'll maybe go too, you know? And so so I lost my first title fight, my fourth fight. And I was like a wake up call kind of in a sense.
This is here in the States.
In the US,
okay,
right?
yeah.
This is in 2018. And then this is May 2018. I fight in August 2018 in Orlando, Florida at the IKF World Classic. And that's
Did they fly you out over there?
No, I'm an amateur. I have to pay. And in the US, it's pay to play.
Damn.
You have to pay your registration fee, your licensing fee, your physical
Unless you get somebody to
expenses.
sponsor you.
Yeah, which is actually what I'm doing for this next one, but we can skip that right now. So I went to that. I won one. I knocked the guy out with a head kick in the third round, the first round. And then the second fight, I ended up fighting this freaking beast, dude. And he ended up winning the whole tournament and then went on to become national champion. So he's world, national, and then some like promotional. Like he's got like pretty well accomplished.
Amateur level?
Amateur level.
Okay.
But dude, I don't know what he's doing as an amateur, dude. That guy's a beast. But
Damn.
I want to fight him again.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could beat him. So I won one, lost one, and then I came back to California. November 2018, I fought in Vacaville, and I had this fight that, dude, it was crazy. It was like the first fight I explained, like just like otherworldly. I just like put on a whooping. The guy was tough as hell. He actually he put a whooping on me, like mainly on my leg. He kicked the crap out of my leg, and that's where I was like, I know leg kicks work, but that was where I learned like they really work. Like, dude, it hurts so painful to walk for like months even after. So I won that one. Then I took another short notice fight December 2018 in Fresno, and I lost, pretty decisively lost. And I was just upset. I was just kind of like, okay, like I something needs to happen. I was planning on going to Thailand in December, like in the fall, but it just kept not working out. And then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go to Thailand. And then I like a month before I planned it, like a month, and then it turns like in that month they offered me this fight on this promotion called Lion Fight in 2019, February 2019. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it on 8 days notice. And I had to lose 33 pounds.
Why even
You're
take
insane,
it? Why
bro.
even take it at that point? Like,
You're insane.
Dude, because, okay, at that point, I was like, okay, like, I'm having a heart, like, I remember writing a post about this on, like, Instagram, and it was kind of like, that was, like, my, like, noted, right? Like, it was kind of like a timestamp. I was like, I'm feeling kind of, like, fighting has been really good to me, and I'm enjoying the process and everything, but, like, I'm just going to let the right fight find me. I've been frantically looking for fights. I'm going to let it find me. And then I remember I was like, okay, I'm going to stay here for my birthday. in the weekend after my birthday in 2019, I'm gonna go to Thailand. And in that time, I was like, I'm just gonna get fat. So that way I can't even take a fight. And bro, and that fight found me when I was 33 pounds above weight.
Oh my God.
And dude, it was a big deal because that's the biggest promotion on U.S. side for Muay Thai. And they were like, you want to fight? I was like, I'm not gonna pass that up. Let's go. So I told my coach I was 8 pounds later, and he's like, all right, we can do that. And bro, I was hurt. And you been to Soul Food in San Rafael?
No.
Oh, dude,
Soul food? What kind of food
Soul
is that?
food, Puerto Rican.
Soul food.
Soul,
it's spelled
like
regular
like soul, like SOL, soul.
Oh,
soul food.
San Rafael.
Yeah, dude, it's
Better put it on my list.
Yeah, I gotta
bro.
remember
It's
that.
so good, man. That chicken was sent down from the heavens. But dude, yeah. So I was on my way there, and I was in the car with some friends. I was probably like 5 of us going, and my coach texted me. He's like, "Hey, you want to go to lion fight?" It was after training one night, and I was like, "Oh no fucking way!" Like I'm just like screaming at the top of my lungs in this little dinky car, and everyone was like, what happened? Like they thought somebody died or something. So this guy left me alone.
You're
for a
like,
little.
fuck yeah! Somebody died.
That's the only first or last. But no, dude, I was like gassed, and I was probably for like 5-10 minutes. I was just like yelling at the top of like, what's wrong? Like, dude, like what's going on? And I was like, lion fight. They're like, what? You gonna lion fight? I was like, yeah. And so I was like, dude, I got to fight on lion fight, and bro, I was in LA at the LA Coliseum at one of the colleges down there. I forgot.
USC?
Yeah, at the LA Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
It was outdoors, so that sucked, and it was so cold that day. But I went, I made weight, and then in my corner is like the face of American Muay Thai. Like in my changing room, American Muay Thai. So like these people that are very well known in the community. Actually, one of the guys, Eddie Abasolo, just worked with Brian Ortega before his last fight. And I was like, dude, I'm so jealous he gets to work. And I trained.
And he looked great in his last fight.
Yeah, he did. And dude, this guy's, I've trained with Eddie. Like I've trained with him now. But at that point, he was like this like icon on a pedestal to me. I was like, oh, dude, I like Eddie's. I'm like I'm in the same dressing room as this guy, this other guy, Kevin Ross. And then this other guy, Charles Rodriguez, who was on Glory Kickboxing, the top 10 rankings. And I was just kind of like, dude, like, what the heck? Where am I? Like, I don't belong here. This is crazy. And I remember talking to one of the fighters whose name's Charles. And I remember seeing I saw him fight one time, and I was like, dude, like, I love what you're doing, man. And like, I just love your energy and what you're doing. Like, cause dude, he's like crazy. His nickname's the Rock Star.
You talking about Eddie?
Charles.
Oh.
And I was like, and I saw him fight live. That was the only person I'd ever seen there. But everyone else I'd just seen on social media, and everybody else talking about them. And Charles, he's like the Rock Star. He's like, yeah. He's like getting out there dancing, like punching people. He's like, yeah, like just like crazy. Like he totally lives up to that nickname. And I remember talking to him, and I was like, man, I want to fight like you one day. And I'd only had like 2 fights at that point. And so this is like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 fights, 7 or 8, 8 or 9 maybe for me. And then I was like, man, like I'm back here with you, man. It feels unreal. And he's like, hey, you belong here. You deserve to be here. And I was like, do you tell me that? Like, I was like, bro, my heart stopped a little bit. And I went out there and I fought the guy, and and I put on a show, man. I had some of my favorite moments in that fight. Like I lost, but I had some of my favorite moments. And at that point, I'd been training for a couple years. The skill level of guys that I had like 7, 8 fights at that point, and the skill level who people who have been training like maybe 5, 6 years or whatever, they have that amount of fights. And I was kind of on the fast track. 2 years, I had 8 fights. I was taking any fight that came my way.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I need to fill this experience gap. So that was Thailand. And dude, in Thailand, you age like dog years. Like it's like 1 year or 7. Like you're just like, whoa, like it just.
But like, how did you find it? How did you go?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
From the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my coach, Ben Brown, his name is Jongsanon, the Wooden Man, Fairtex. Because in Thailand, you take on the name of your gym. Your last name is the gym name that you train at as a fighter. So and Fairtex is like the name brand of like, that's like the Nike for Muay Thai.
Oh shit.
So and that was the big gym. And in the golden era of Muay Thai, he was a Lumpini champion, which is like it's like fighting at the MGM Grand here, but for Thailand. It's like the highest stadium as far as Muay Thai goes. So they got, the biggest ones are Lumpini, Rajadamnern, and they got like Omnoy and some other couple. They're not off the top of my head, I don't know. But I went to these stadiums, and but yeah, Jongsanon was like the legend, the on U.S. soil from Fairtex. He has a really inspiring story, man. Like he started when he was 16, He went to a camp and they wouldn't let him train, and then like he was just a fill-in fighter one day for a guy that was sick because he ate bad fish or something, and then he's like, hey, you're gonna take this Jongsanon. His coach told him, hey, Jongsanon, you're gonna take this fight and you're gonna lose. And then he's like, okay. But he was secretly training after hours because he was just like the mop boy, the broom boy. He was training after hours by himself. And then so he went into that fight, and it was supposed to be like a high level guy. And he went in there and knocked him out, or won. I don't quote me in the knockout, but he definitely won. He won. He won very decisively. Yeah. And after that, everyone's like, oh, this guy has potential. He doesn't train. No one's training for him. No one's holding pads for him. Like, who is this guy? And so his coach, who ended up being Monlit Sipodang, is who I went to go train under in Thailand, because he was training one of the champion in Glory Kickboxing, and Glory Kickboxing is the Dutch promotion, which kickboxing is huge in, I think, is it Finland where they speak Dutch? Well, I don't know where that area.
Dutch is Netherlands.
That part then. That's like, so they had 2 Thai champions at 145 and 55, and they were throwing everybody at him and they couldn't beat him. And so the champion was Sidichai Sitsampinong, and Monlit was the head trainer at Sitsampinong, and they had several fighters that were very high level: Lumpini, Rajadamnern champions, WBC champions, which is familiar to boxing fans. And then just crazy, like a nice stable of fighters. And a stable is just like the camp, like how they're team members basically. Yeah. So my coach was like, go train with the best. Go train with Monlit. Because Monlit was actually voted coach of the year. I don't know if it was 2010 or 2011 or something like that. And I mean, in Thailand, where Muay Thai gyms are just as popular as taco shops are in Mexico, like to be voted to be the best coach, dude, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. So I decided, okay, I asked Jongson, I'm like, where should I go? There's so many great places. And originally my plan was to go all over Thailand. I was going to start here and then start in Bangkok, which is like the center where all the big stadiums are. Go down to Pattaya, like beachy. That's where Fairtex now is. And then I was going to go down south to Phuket, the beachy, like bougie, like basically what you see of Thailand, like the super nice blue beaches, like the cool cliffs and whatever. I was going to go down there and go train at Phuket top team with this fighter named Lertsula, who's just freaking insane. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to go up north. I'm going to train at this gym called, where's it trying to go? I don't know, but I forgot the name off the top, I forget, but I was going to go train there. Then I was going to finish up in the north in the most poor region where the best fighters come out of, which is Isan. It's like a state, basically, in Thailand. And the best fighters come from there because of come out of poverty. They basically have to fight their way out of poverty. Damn. And that's where Jongsanon's family still lives. So I was like, okay, I'll finish off there and it'll be so cool, right? And then Jongsanon's like, yeah, just go to Monlit first 2 weeks and then go say hi to the master, and then go, to go Fairtex, and then you do whatever you want to do. And he's like, you want to go? You just tell me. I called him. And he's still a very respected person in Thailand. So he's just, all I had to do was basically say the word and I could go where I wanted to. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And I just basically went on loans and family help, basically. Yeah. Because I just went on a whim. I was like, okay, I remember I was going to go. My uncle bought my ticket there. And then I just got into debt, telling my parents, like, I'll pay you back when I get there. But, like, I need to stay here. I need to get better, right?
That's crazy.
And do you, like, spend US dollars over there? Or do you go?
Yeah. Well, I receive US dollars, but I trade them into baht, which is their currency.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I get there. Once I plan it out, and I was like, there's no backing out now. I have my birthday weekend here with some of my gym friends, and then the next day I fly out, and it's like a 24-hour flight at least. If you don't do a whole lot of stops. Dude, it's crazy.
Dude, fuck that.
Yeah, it's
24 hours.
Yeah, and then it's like they're like a day behind or something. So it's like, I don't know if it's basically yesterday. So you don't really miss the day until you come back.
You went back in the past.
Yeah, dude. Oh no, it's the future or something like that. I don't know, but I could tell you the future. Dude. But yeah, I get there, and this is so dope because I didn't speak any Thai. I know how to say hi, and I thought it was gonna be like super easy. Like I'll just be able to talk English to people. Nah, dude.
Why would you think that'd be easy?
I don't know, dude. Like I decided to go, and I was like, "Yo, okay, I'm just gonna go, and I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna say sit on pinot, and everyone's gonna know." Nah, dude. You can get like little SD, like SIM cards to get like there's like a SIM card where you can get like the countries like for $30 a month. You get unlimited everything.
Okay.
And I didn't pay my phone off, so I still owed it. Yeah. Oh, no. And so I couldn't get the SIM card in my phone. So I'm sitting there at the Wi-Fi with like my timer running out of Wi-Fi slowly at the airport. And I'm like, okay, I need to go somewhere. And I was like, okay, Sitsong Pinong. And then nobody understood it. And I had it in like the Thai writing on the Google Maps. And like, we don't know. They're like trying to figure out. And I was like, okay. I was saying like an American. I was like sit song. I was like sit song pinong. They're like what? I was like sit song pinong. Oh, okay. And they freaking take me. Dude, they hella charged me way expensive to get to this camp. And the thing is, I didn't tell them I was coming. I just pulled up and I was like, I hope they have a room for me.
Damn.
I didn't have a plan, dude. I just was like, I'm gonna go. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna go. And I figured it out. I heard legends of mango sticky rice. Oh man, live up to the hype. That was the first thing I had when
Mango sticky rice?
Bro, you gotta try
Mango sticky
Dude,
rice.
Sounds good.
It's delicious, dude.
Sounds delicious.
It sounds like it clashes, but dude, it's amazing.
Sweet rice?
Sweet rice, sweet sticky rice with like coconut or like lechera kind of, but like coconut version. On
Interesting.
top
So
of,
it's a dessert. It's not
yeah,
like a,
yeah. And so that was the first thing I had when I got out the airport. And then, but yeah, dude, I had no plan. I had no phone. I had like $100 in Thai money, and I was like, I hope this is enough. I hope I don't get ripped off.
100 US in Thai money.
In Thai money,
Okay.
yeah. So it was like 3,000 baht, and
I wonder what their the
Conversion.
yeah.
it's like 30 baht to $1,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good.
give or take. Yeah,
That's really
baht.
fucking good.
yeah.
How much expensive is food over there? Like how much is
Dude,
like
it depends where you go. Like where I was, like I could get a plate of food for 30 baht.
like $1?
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
that's a good plate. Like
yeah.
Dude, fuck yeah, bro.
Fat ass portions, I'm sure, bro.
That's something that's always
They're not
let's think
stingy.
about
Whenever I
going
go
to
to-
Mex. Yeah, like everything's. When I go to Mex, like everything's so much cheaper. Like you can get a full ass meal for like 20 pesos. That's equivalent like
Yeah.
to $1 right now.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Or like my whole family would eat for like 200, 300 pesos. Like, yeah,
like
Yeah.
a good
take my
meal.
money.
Yeah, like you feel like a
Yeah.
baller. Yeah,
Especially if you're like in an Asian country, bro. Like whenever you go to Asian restaurant, you're like, give me some rice. You're like, fucking boom, boom.
like a big ass
dude.
plate. Yeah,
You go to Chipotle and they barely one little scoop right
Yeah.
there. You're like, what are you
Yeah.
guys
You
rationing?
have to
Like,
pay
what,
extra
right?
for the extra
Throw some
scoop.
more in there.
Like, come
oh,
on,
that's
man.
gonna be double chicken. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Charge me double. Throw chicken on
I'm a
there.
baller, bro. I got money.
Have a little faith in me, people.
Damn.
Okay, so you get there, scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Can't communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
What
show
do
up to the gym.
What
What,
do you
happens?
do? Yeah.
And like the people who greeted me, they were like, "What are you doing here?" kind of, but they didn't speak any English. So it was one person that could speak English there, and it was like and I don't think she was there. And so I kind of had to wait like a little bit and like, oh, you have a reservation? I was like, nah, like I'm just hoping I can get a room. Like, okay, what do you want? I was like,
So it's like a
a camp. It's literally a camp. So like you go and it's like a building that has a gym and they have rooms there for accommodation and they have a kitchen there, like a common eating room. So the way it works for the one I was at, Sesam Pinang, is you walk in through the door. To the left there's like a game room. So they have a pool table there. To the right, there's a kitchen and like the common eating room with a TV. And then then you walk a little bit further, and to the left there's a little office where you like go buy your gear, like souvenirs or whatever for the gym. Then to the right you walk up to the second story and there's a gym, 2 boxing rings, some bags, and some mat space, and some weights and stuff. And then if you don't take either right or left there, you go straight and there's like the rooms where you live, and that's like a hotel. And so when she finds, she's like, okay, you want to live here, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't have the money right now though. Like, can I pay you like tomorrow?
Because you knew you're getting money tomorrow?
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, okay, that's okay. You just pay me. I was like, okay, I pay you. And then so like she gave me the room. I go in there and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay here for. She's like, how long? I was like, 2 weeks. And she's like, okay. And so like I hadn't paid her for like I think for a week or something. I didn't pay her.
And they were cool with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I wasn't going. It's not like I left or something. You know?
Right.
So and then also I know Monlit, the trainer there, the head trainer. So it's not like it's like okay, if I leave, it's on him, kind of.
Right.
So yeah, I decided I like the place. I was like, this is nice. Like this is not how they told me I was gonna be sleeping on the dirt with like blankets, like little sabanitas, and like like it was gonna be like a really crappy living situation. Dude, it was hella sick. It was like walking through a Hilton kind of. But I was gonna have a roommate at some point, and I did. So there's a couple I didn't like, but the first roommate I had, he was Russian. He was hella cool. It was hella funny. But he always had the AC on blast, so it gave me like allergies. Okay, allergies because my asthma. But yeah, so I ended up staying. I ended up liking Monlay. I ended up liking the training, and I met one of my friends there who I'm still good friends with now. Her name's Angela Chang, and she's like a really good fighter. And at the time, she was Monlit's main fighter. And she asked me, "How long are you staying here?" And I was like, 4 months. And she's like, she sees people come and go all the time, right? For like a month or a week or whatever. So she's like, "Friend," and like I was just like, "Okay, I don't even have a choice here."
Where's she from?
She's from New York. Yeah, so but like she was there for a month, and then the next month she left because she wouldn't go visit family. But but yeah, I don't know, we're still cool. Like she came to the U.S. I actually showed her around the Bay and stuff. Like I took her to do seminars.
That's
And,
what's up.
yeah,
Nice,
man,
dude.
she stayed at my place because I live on a wedding resort, so I just kind of let her use one of the rooms there. But I asked my boss, and she stayed there. So yeah, we're good friends. We still keep in touch. She's actually one of the main people I'm talking to because I'm gonna go back here and at the end of the year, hopefully in the fall, for a few months, go fight.
It's exciting.
Yeah, but I get there, and I remember before I left, I was like, I don't want to fight. I just want to go and get really good. I want to train and get really good. And then I talked to Jongson. Jongson said, okay, you go 1 month, you fight. And I was like, no, coach, I don't want to fight. I just want to train. He's like, okay, you fight. I was like, oh, damn.
All right.
He's like, sounds good. You fight tomorrow.
Good talk.
Bro. Yeah. And then I get there, and then Molnit sees me. I'm 180 plus when I get there. And he's like, okay. He's like, 2 weeks, your body okay? You fight. And I was like, no, I don't want to fight. Like that was the first thing he told me. Like when I met him, he's like, okay, you Robbinson, okay, 2 weeks. You body okay? You fight. And I was like, that means like, you better get ready in 2 weeks. I was like, oh hell no, they don't want to fight in 2 weeks. I told everybody. I literally told you, I don't want this. Like I'm like kind of throwing, not being impolite, but I was kind of a little frantic. I was like, I don't want to. I really don't want to. But Angela ended up kind of helping that out and talking me into it. Mm-hmm. And it was like a month before I ended up getting a fight. And but yeah, I get there and dude, the food is amazing. I was trying all these foods that people were telling me to try, but the thing sucked. It's like right now it's the afternoon, and over there it's the morning, and over there it's the morning, and over here's the afternoon. So you like talking to your family and friends and stuff is a little difficult. And then you're a day behind or forward or whatever. So yeah, dude, it was sweet. Like I ended up liking the training a lot. There was people coming and going. I made friends with this Australian guy. We were hanging out for the month, and he left, and I was hanging out with Angela. Then she left. I actually saw Tiesto. I was there for the Thai New Year. It's called Songkran. It's like several days. Mm-hmm. And I went to this music festival, bro. I just got great party story. But yeah, I almost like got in a fight. I remember like one time, bro, like I got somewhere along the lines of that music festival. I forgot how to speak English. Like I didn't know anybody could understand me. And I remember that I asked for, they're like, you want spicy? I remember this part of it. I was like, yeah, I want spicy. And then they're like, okay, they give me spicy. And I was like, and I look over at my friend. I was like, H2O. And he's like, speak to me, man. I speak English. Speak to me, bro. Yeah, bro. I forgot how to speak English because I was just like, I was in party mode, man. And we ended up seeing Tiesto there. It was, bro.
Who's Tiesto?
Is that DJ, like a house music or
you know
like
Tiesto?
EDM?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not into
some of your listeners will know. I'm sure.
Probably, yeah.
That was a little bragging rights there.
Jose G would probably know.
Hey, bro, it was cool because they're like playing, like spraying out like water into the crowd, so you're just constantly getting sprayed down by water. It was sick. I don't know. It's super cool. I didn't get the full experience because I went there literally to train. I was almost not making friends on purpose. That way I wouldn't have to be social and spend money.
What's the difference between like training here Muay Thai and training over there Muay Thai?
Dude.
You said your gym here is Muay Thai. Like, what is the main difference?
Over there, you have a coach. He has nobody else. He has you. So here, you have a partner class. You pick a partner. All right, guys, everybody line up. Warm up, pick a partner.
So it's just individual training over there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's one-on-one. It's like you're paying for private lessons. So it's like, imagine you working with who was your coach in soccer, like that, and he only coaches you on your skills, your footwork, or whatever you need to do. He finds your flaws, and then he coaches you day and night. 2 hours, 3 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon.
Yeah,
like you would get hella good, hella fast.
You would.
Right?
I guess it's different because soccer's a team sport, and I need my other teammates to be there in order to be, to thrive in it. But I understand 100%.
But if he's like, your touch sucks, let me fix that.
Yeah.
Right. Or he's like, oh, your pass sucks.
In the air, like
yeah. Right. So stuff like that.
I get it. Damn, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Individual training.
Yeah. So so it was one-on-one. And of course the guy who's held pads for all these really good fighters in this gym, Sedichai Sitampinan, who was actually the current champion in Glory Kickboxing while I was there. Damn. And then I had my fight. I actually went over there with a torn ligament in my hand, and I had 3 hairline fractures in my shin. But I didn't take a break, and I was like toughing through because I was like, yeah, I'm tough, And I was like, I want to take as many fights as I can. And every time I'd fight, the next day I'd come to the gym and just start smashing bags, and I was just like, yeah, like I don't care, man, like right here to train. And I mean, it wasn't like I was like aggro or anything. I was just enthusiastic, and I was like, I just want to train. I want to get good, And bro, it haunts me to this day sometimes. So after the first fight I had there, I won by TKO. I liver shotted the guy, put him down for an 8 count, liver shotted him again. He just stayed down. And I was like, oh, dude, it was so cool. Mm-hmm. And then after that, my wrist was just screwed up, man. And we were taping it pretty heavy anyways because we knew like it was hurting. We just didn't know what. I didn't have health insurance. I don't know. I just didn't have health insurance. I could get it checked out. Mm. Then I go to Thailand. We go to the doctor. We get it checked out. And he's like, yeah, you have something torn here. 8 weeks, no training. And I was like, no training with that hand. So I was like, oh, man. I was like, all right, cool. So, and then right when that happened, the next day, like the champion, like the poster boy for the gym, Sidichai, comes in and he's like, and they're like, all right, you sparring. And I was like, one of the trainers goes, hey, go come in, glove up, go spar City Chai. And I was like, yeah. I was like, hyperventilating. I was like, oh, I get to spar with him. Like, it was like, you know, a month in, like he gets to come in. I was like, I'm one of the sparring partners, sick. And bro, like, he's like, and my trainer's like, nah, man, he can't. He has a torn wrist or whatever. He just tells him. And I was like, oh man, like I wish I would have been part of that camp. He ended up losing the belt that after that one, but I would have been really cool to have been a part of that experience. Yeah, dude, like I had to train for 8 weeks with that brace. I couldn't take it off. I took it easy on my right leg, so I got really good at a left kick. I got my knees pretty good. My clinching aspect, it's like a grappling aspect, stand-up grappling aspect in Muay Thai that I got pretty decent at, because over there it's like 30 minutes every day in clinch, and over here in the States you train maybe once a week if you're lucky to clinch. So it's like, dude, it's like you just night and day. Like I said, you age in dog years, man. Like it's crazy. And then the strongest person I've ever felt on me, like the most strongest person, is 120 pounds. Like I've clinched with 200-pound guys, 195ers, 185ers, and they can move me around left and right at will. But dude, the strongest I've ever felt from like grip and like control like the most helpless I've ever felt was from a 120-pound fighter. Like he just had me. He would have, we'd be clinching, and I'd be trying to like break his grip. He had my head like in his arms right here, and he'd try to push me, and I'd be trying to get him away or like try to get him off me or like negotiate a better position. And then this guy's just like having conversations with his trainer. He's like blah 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 blah, and then he just like put me on the ground, and I was like, and he used to be like blah 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 blah, and he used to be laughing, be like ha ha ha, Robinson, boom, freaking throw a knee on my rib, and dude, they just like be making fun of me. I'm just trying so hard, and I'm like, dude, I just wasn't, and I was freaking 50 pounds bigger than the guy, 60 pounds bigger than the guy.
That's insane.
That pissed me off.
And there was nothing I could do about it. And they'd just be laughing and stuff. Dude, it was freaking awesome.
So what's a typical like workout day there? So you wake up at what time? You're eating what? You're working out when? Like what is the typical day there when you were training?
Okay, I'm gonna explain it, but I also have a vlog. I did a vlog on this when I was there. So if you guys want to check that out after. But so we wake up at 6, like 5 or 6, give or take. At 6 a.m. you go on a run. You do like anywhere from 3 to 6 miles, maybe. That's what they do. Some people don't even do so they do kilometers. So they like 6 to 12K. Just 3 to 7 or 8 miles or something like that. And then some gyms run in the morning and in the afternoon.
Do they measure pace or just distance?
Distance.
Do they run at whatever pace?
It's supposed to be like a nice light run where you can talk the whole time. But dude, their nice light run is like my sprint. Like they have to do it every day, you know? Like they have to, like that's their life. That's how they make money. They don't have jobs. Like a lot of them don't even have educations, high school diplomas, elementary. Like dude, it's like they don't have any of that. So they have to do this. So like they've been doing this since they were 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever, you know? And they have at least 10 years of doing that. So their cardiovascular system just built up so good, so good. So yeah, and I remember sometimes just to make fun, like to tease me or whatever, like I'd be running super slow, and they'd come up behind me, they'd like lap me, and then they'd come and be like, come on. He'd like, push you. Like, low, and low in Thai means fast. Like, low. I was like, you can't go any faster. I've been trying to push me and stuff, I like couldn't do it. But so we run like in the morning for an hour, and then you go back to the gym, because in Sisal Pinong, it's like in the suburbs. So you like walk out like a few blocks, and there's a park across the street, and you just run around this like little like waterfall thing. I don't know. If you guys like, if you want like a better visuals, like I'm gonna explain it as best as I can. But the visuals, like I literally go through like a day in the life at Sisal Pinong on my YouTube channel. But you run around the little spring thing, and you walk back to the gym. Then you get all your gear, you go upstairs, and then you warm up, and then you hit your rounds. You maybe 3-5 rounds of pads with your coach. You do like 3-4 rounds of bag work, and then you do strength and conditioning, which is like 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, and like 10 pull-ups. And then you do like shadow boxing, kind of like you go like have weights in your hands. You have to like punch and nonstop with, I don't know, whatever weight. It can be anywhere from 3 to like 8 pounds. And you're just like punching jab, cross on a ladder, like, you know, like a speed ladder, basically, like on the outside. And you do that for like a couple rounds. And then after that, after you wrap all that stuff up, you just go downstairs, shower up, then you go, it's time to eat. You eat your meal, then you have free time from maybe 9-10 to 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is when the second session starts. So you can either take a nap, you can, you know, catch up with family, you can go for a walk, do errands or whatever. And then at 2 p.m., you gear up again. You go upstairs, you warm up, hit pads with your coach, and then strength and conditioning. Sometimes clinch, like the second part of the day you do clinch for 30 minutes. And dude, it's so freaking aggravating. Like it feels like someone like you have like a chain on your neck, and it's just like you ever seen like those people that put the thing in their mouth and they're like Mike Tyson doing like the neck thing like that, like that.
Like a towel with a kettlebell.
But dude, it's like having like 120 plus pounds on you, like for 30 minutes, janking down on your neck. Like, bro, like I had to actively think about keeping my head up. Like, cause like you don't think like, oh, you know, that's whatever. But like, if I forgot to keep my head up, I'd just be like, it'll just be dropping. It would be like, I'd be like, all right, keep my head up. It was so bad.
Damn.
And then you do that, and then strength and conditioning, same thing, punch, rounds of work. Then you eat at night, and then you have free time or sleep time. That's a typical day. And then you do that Monday through Saturday.
It's like double days every day.
Yeah, 2 days every day. Yeah, dude.
It's intense.
Yeah, I was sick. Dude, one time I got lost when I was going to get my visa. Like, cause you get a 90-day visa off the gate. Well, in 2019 you did before COVID. And then so I went to go renew my visa, and I got lost. Like I said, my phone didn't have any service or a SIM card or anything. So I just had Wi-Fi, and I fell asleep on the ride to the taxi ride over. So I didn't like memorize any of the roads. And I remember like I got Wi-Fi at the embassy, and I was like renewing my visa and everything. I had to get home, but I didn't have any money for a taxi. So I had to walk like 6 hours to get to the nearest because they didn't have the train, like the BART, it's a pretty good like train system or whatever, like the BART or whatever. But the nearest one to me was like 6-hour walk, and I didn't have the money to pay. I didn't know the name, I didn't know the language, and I didn't have any money to get to where I needed to be. So I had to walk for like 6 hours in like freaking the middle of the day, just sun beaming down on me and whatever. And dude, I remember I walked through some areas. I think I did a vlog on it, or it must have been on my story or something, but like I was like walking through like what looked like favelas along the river, and everyone's looking at me weird. Like I look like, bro, I'm not a white boy, you know. Like I look like the part. Like people thought I was Thai sometimes, but they could tell I wasn't from the neighborhood, you know.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would be walking out, and there'd be like people come, like after I walk out, like people like coming out their door and like seeing what I was doing or something. A little sketch.
What is a sketch?
Yeah, and like walking along the side of the highway, like walking like where a freeway is. Like I'm walking along the freeway, not even a sidewalk, you know. Like it was crazy, and I could see like the BART, like the build that they were building it, but they didn't come out that far. So I was just following the construction. I was like, okay, eventually there's gonna be one that works, right? And dude, I did that, and when I finally found it, I was like, oh, perfect. And I had just enough money, because it didn't take you right to my gym. It takes you like maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes away from the gym. And then I had to pay like a motor taxi to get me back. And I had to like talk to them, be like, hey, I need this is all I have. And they're like, nah, I'm not gonna do that for that much. I had to like
negotiate.
Yeah, what
dude.
the hell? That's crazy.
Yeah, that was cool. That was the most. I think that was some of the biggest hurdles when I was there, because the training is easy. You know, like making friends is easy. You have something in common with everybody at the gym.
Right.
But like figuring out the visa, not knowing the language, and then the time I actually had to leave the country to renew my visa, like I tried to go to Burma, which is now Myanmar, and they didn't even let me on the plane because I didn't know you needed to have a visa, like to get in the country beforehand. So I was like, oh, that sucks. So like the desk lady dropped me off at the airport. Then I had to drive, and then I had to take a taxi back with like my tail between my legs, you know. And I was like, hey, the next morning I was like, hey, can you take me to the airport again? And I booked a flight to Cambodia, and I was only supposed to be there for a couple days because one of my teammates from the U.S. was actually there at the camp, and she's like, oh yeah, we'll train. I was like, don't worry, I'll be back in a couple days. Like I'll be gone for the weekend, or I'll be back tops. I think it was Friday when I left, and I think I came back. I was supposed to be back Tuesday or something. Should just be an overnight thing. I didn't know the requirements for a visa. You needed to have like I don't know if it was like $10,000 in your bank account or something to prove that you could stay in Thailand, and like all these like different like legal documents and stuff. And I didn't know any of that, so I was just stuck in Cambodia. Like, hey mom, do you have this? Hey mom, do you have that?
I need $10,000, mom, please.
I need a small loan of $10,000.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know how I don't know how I ended up getting. I had some money, and then I ended up just like kind of putting some things together, pulling strings. And I just like I think I just ended up asking people to put money in my account, and then I would just send it back as soon as I was done getting the proof. I needed bank statements. I needed like all this stuff.
Right, just to prove that you had the money.
Yeah, and then even worse, I was stuck in a country where I didn't know anything. Like I didn't even know how to say, like, but at this point in Thailand, I at least know how to say like the basics. I could be like, hey, how are you? Where you from? My name is. How much is this? How much is? I could communicate.
Right.
And in Cambodia, I was like, oh, I'm like trying to learn phrases, but I didn't know how long I was gonna be there. I ended up being there for a week, but dude, that was so cool. That was so cool because I was like, traveling is sight. Because that was the first time I was like not training, and it was really fun. And bro, there was one point where I was just like, man, I should just stay here, because I was like, I was meeting people, right? I was going out and about. I didn't have training to do. All I had to do was like I eat one meal a day. Then I started leaning out. I lost like 10 pounds that week. I got like leaning out. I got my abs back and stuff. And bro, that's where I stayed at a hostel. And like, you know what hostel is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I didn't know what that was. So I was like, dude, $3 for a hotel room? Oh man, I love Cambodia. Yeah, dude, I love Cambodia. This place is awesome. And then, dog, I was like, wait, why is there like 8 beds in here? And dude, I had no idea what it was. So I was like, this is weird. But honestly, it was the biggest blessing because that's where I met a bunch of people. And I'd be like, hey, you want to go here? Yeah, let's go. Hey, you want to go here? Yeah, let's go. And of course, I was on Tinder out there. And so every other day I was going out, meeting people, and they're showing me around the city and whatever. And that was pretty cool. And then in the mornings, I would be talking to like whoever was there. And it's cool because people are so approachable. Everyone doesn't know what they're doing. Everyone's exploring. Everyone's on a vacation or whatever.
On the same page, yeah.
So it's so easy to talk to people. I got to meet like people from all different types of cultures and talk and hang out. And they'd invite me to go party and just like, or go to bars. Like, bro, like there's some wild stories like just in that week. And I was like, damn, this travel thing is kind of fun. I don't know if I want to go back. I gotta stay here another week.
Yeah, right.
But then I was like, then when I got back to Thailand, I actually met a girl who's like painted a perfect picture for me. It's like, you know, had like worked high-end, like really nice job
in Thailand?
off in Cambodia.
Oh.
So I was like, I shouldn't even go back to Cambodia, you know?
Damn.
And I met a girl and she's just like, yeah, like she had a pug puppy. I was like, oh, you reeled me in. And then she had like a really nice apartment with like a great view of the city. And like she had a really like high-paying job. She made the curriculum for private schools in Cambodia. So
Jesus.
And she spoke English?
yeah, she was South African.
Bro, you're set.
Yeah, bro, I was
set,
sick,
bro.
dog. Yeah, so
Why are you here? What are you doing?
I don't know.
Why aren't you in
I don't
Cambodia,
know.
bro?
I don't know,
Damn,
man.
dude.
I just like, I don't know, it was funny because like in that night, she was like, you know, they have
White girl?
Yeah, South African. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh man. So,
interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
that's just one of those stories. I feel like we could talk more.
We can talk about
outside.
that off camera.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, we will. We will.
But man, okay, man, if you're single, you think you can't get girls, travel. I'm telling you. Okay, there's you know, Russ says like when local girls were the dream girls, that'll all make sense once you step off the plane in a foreign country. Like
What?
when local girls were the dream girls, this is 10 years with no sleep. Dead in a knee on Nessa McLaren. It's on
When local girls are the dream
when
girls?
local girls were the dream girls. Russ says that. It's like, this is when local girls were the dream girls, this is 10 years with no sleep.
That means that he's traveling all the time?
That means like, I remember like, oh, I wanted to get the hottest girl in school, and now I'm traveling every country. I'm getting exotic women. I'm talking to people.
Like
I'm
they ain't
making
shit no
friends.
more.
Yeah. It's like, bro, and I was like, bro, like I'm meeting some really cool people, some people who are very like talented, and people who have these dreams, and people who have stuff in common with. Like traveling really helps, like really open your eyes up to like, hey, it's not just like these million people in the Bay. It's 5 million people or whatever the population is in the Bay. It's not the 7,000 people in Fort Bragg. Like, man, you like go to a foreign country, even if it's like, if you're Mexican, you go to Mexico, you never been there, bro. Like you just experienced that, right? It's like it's crazy. I heard like the thing you said with the puppy was cracking me up because, dude, I feel that. Like you're like, I saw like, oh, this was cute, and it's like the
and then you drive down the road and it's like those guys like fuck, poor dog.
I know, man.
Yeah.
But like you're not used to seeing that here, you know. Just so many eye-opening experiences, and then if you go around and maybe you go to somewhere touristy to start off, you know, so people speak English and you can communicate,
Feel more comfortable.
yeah, and stuff like that. But dude, you start to see that you're more a part of the world than you think you are. You know, it's like it's so eye-opening, and especially to be in a country that's like, we're in first world. You go to third world, like, man, you see, like, man, we take all this stuff for granted. Like,
I
dude,
bet.
like, dog, I got like in one of the neighborhoods I just went to in Mexico earlier this year too. They have their houses are twigs and cardboard roofs. And that's a whole neighborhood. Like I've walked through the whole. I was like, man, I don't feel safe here, you know. And there's like tire shops. There's like bike tire shops, and there's like used bike tires, and they're like, that's a mechanic shop. That's how they make their like ends meet. I was like, dude, this is so sad. I take for granted what I got, and that's not to try to be like, oh, I'm better than this or whatever. But it's like, bro, like, do you even
appreciate what you have?
Do you
like,
even know? Like,
you definitely, because it is hard to flirt between like. You don't want to come off as like, well, I have it better over there, you know. Like you don't want to be arrogant or cocky or like I have it all over there, but you do have a certain appreciation for the things you have over here.
Yeah.
When you do see places like that.
Yeah.
That's what I told you. Like when I got back, I was like, and I see now why people sacrifice or kind of trade their entire life and their family and everything for a better opportunity. and nothing promised over here. There's no job security. There's no family. There's no place to stay. Nothing about it over here is guaranteed. And they literally leave their whole life over there to come over here for a better life.
Right.
Like, this is the only place. Well, I wouldn't know the only place, but like here in the U.S., like we have the opportunity to be millionaires by the time we're 35, 36. Like, what other place can you say that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you realize that a lot of the things that, and this is not to like dismiss any like issues that are happening in our country, but like you learn that we have enough money and enough time to worry about smaller issues. Like over in Mexico or third world countries, they don't care about what you're calling them or whatever slurs. They're like, how am I gonna get food on the table? Like that's their worry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
call me what you want.
Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, just pay me, bro.
Yeah.
As long as I'm eating my food and I got a place to sleep tonight, that's all that matters.
Yeah. It's like as long as I have a roof over my family's head and I have food in my belly, you know, like people go without food. You know, people lose a fight and they can't pay their, like in Thailand, you know, it's like I went there because I like it. Some of those kids, they don't like it. They don't have a choice. They that's all they have. And it's like, bro, like that's just crazy. Like I'm going there, I'm like having fun and whatever. And some of the guys like, dude, like you can sit, there's like ice cold, and you know, like they have no expression. And I would try to like make friends, and I would talk to them and stuff, and learn Thai and try to say little sentences here and there. But they're like, some of them they're like, you know, like maybe
it's not
a little
fun.
jealous.
It's like it's a job.
They don't care. Yeah,
and it's just a way to put food on the table. And some of them, they're not high level. Like the top tier makes money, right? And that's in any sport, boxing, UFC, whatever. Yeah. Same in Thailand, they make a lot less, even like there. But dude, the highest level makes it, and some of them they make 10,000 baht, which you know a couple hundred, maybe a couple $1,000 here, a few $1,000, and they have to split that 50% with the gym because they're sponsored, and then hopefully they can send that to their family and hope that that's enough to keep them afloat for a little bit in the countryside. Like, dude, it's so like. It's inspiring, but at the same time, it's very sad. You know, like we're there because we want to be there. They don't have a choice, and I'm sure there's a lot of other places in the world that it's very like this, but this is just what I've got to experience myself. You know, and that's why it's very moving to me. In the same way too, it's like, man, like you guys become good out of necessity. You know, like I'm choosing this. I'm choosing life, not to live lavishly. I'm choosing not to follow the career that I have certifications in. I'm choosing not to, you know, excel in some areas that I could excel in. And I'm choosing this, but they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice, you know?
Dude, what an experience, man. Yeah. Talk about future plans.
Like,
what is your future plans? What are your like goals with fighting? Like, where do you wish to be at? Like, what's next? Like, what fights do you have lined up?
Yeah.
Just kind of wrap it up with that.
Yeah. I got a fight here in 6 weeks at the IKF World Classic. I lost the first time I went there in the semis.
Where are you gonna be fighting at?
In Orlando, Florida, for the 4th of July weekend.
Oh shit!
That'll be a tournament, and so I'll have 3 fights in 2 days if I'm lucky. And then, well, of course I will. Why am I saying if I'm lucky? So I'll be fighting. That's a international stage, so it'll be a world title that'll be stamped on it. And then 2 weeks after that, I fight in San Jose at this promotion called Muay Thai Global. So
what date is that?
July 24th in San Jose.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be fighting there. Fighting for another title, and then after that, I think I'm staying here for the rest of August. I might have another fight in August. It's still kind of up in the air. I was actually supposed to fight for that promotion in May, but they moved it out to August, so I don't know if it's happening or not due to COVID. Yeah. But if it doesn't happen, I should be leaving to Thailand in September if everything goes well. And going out there for a few months, training at a gym. Probably meet up with my friend Angela. She's out there. She's training. She's actually ranked the top 12 of the WBC world rankings. So you know she has her own like blog. So she's very in the community. You know, so yeah, hopefully gonna go out there train at this gym called PK Sanchai. I'm gonna switch it up the gyms this time. Train there for a few months and maybe get some fights. I don't know, with COVID over there, it's just a little messy. But I want to be there. I want to make sure, even if it's just pad time, and even if it's not fights, I want to get there. You know, and because at that gym they have a lot of fighters that are very very notorious, and they're on the world stage, and they have 40+ fighters, which sits on Penang. I think they had like when I was there maybe 5, 6. Because it's a little smaller.
40 fighters.
Oh damn,
dude.
Yeah, so
It'll be a good experience.
Yeah, and then I want to get to MMA. I'm trying to get my jiu-jitsu down. I just had some injuries that I was working through right now. Like even just today, I was just at the doctor's office with my hands, because I got these new gloves and whatever. You know, I was like,
we talk about that.
Yeah.
We talk about that. What you wanted to touch on that? The Onyx gloves.
Yeah, man. So the Onyx gloves, like crazy. Like they're like the new cutting edge technology.
The thing,
yeah,
like very handmade towards that specific fighter.
Yeah, they're like tailored gloves for you basically. You know, you like tailored suits. This is a tailored glove, and it's high end, pretty expensive, like upwards of $300. They give you it's black and gold. It's a very elegant glove, very beautiful, very well built. And the big thing with that glove is like it's you don't have to wear hand wraps and stuff. You can just because it's got amazing wrist support and whatever. But man, since I started like this is my experience, of course, but like I hurt my hands with those gloves. I thought I had a hairline fracture in my right hand, and lucky it's just bruising. But man, like I wouldn't like if you're a power puncher, you probably want to still wear hand wraps with those gloves. I would recommend it, you know, because they are like the newest gloves that came out, and they do feel really nice. You put them on, it's just like, man, it's like a suit of armor made for my hand. And the ones that I have the double Velcro for those who know or want to look into it. There's lace-up gloves and Velcro, and the Velcro does have really good wrist support. They do, like, it's everything they tell you, like it molds to your hand and everything. And and I did try them without molding them too. So I remember like the break-in period was a little rough, but after I molded them to my hand, it's like, man, it's night and day difference for sure. The materials are great. It's built to last. I think they even have a warranty or something on them too. So for like a year or something like that. So like they're awesome gloves, and like, but man, I would not recommend not using hand wraps with those, because I definitely dinged my hands, and it was a problem for my last fight. I couldn't throw my right hand. And for this next one, I was a little worried that we thought I had a hairline fracture in my hand. And then my other hand my hands just got really fragile. And I was like, okay, I should probably wear hand wraps.
Yeah.
You know, and even though they're built up to be these really hyped up gloves, and they do live up to it. But I think that if you're a power puncher, if you got some power, you're probably gonna want to use some hand wraps, and maybe you know, try them out. Start lightly. You know.
Yeah.
As much as they're great, I've had my fair share of injuries with them, and I've only had them since March. It's end of May right now, and
Where's
so
that March, April, May?
So
2-3 months.
Yeah,
Jeez.
so I've
Good
had
amount of time.
yeah.
That's not. You think it's a good amount of time? I think that's not that much time.
No, and I mean my hands get fragile before fights, but I've never had this problem with hurting my hands.
Fuck?
And I got 16-ounce gloves, so it's
Couple
not like I
months
should
with
be hurting
gloves?
myself.
Yeah, that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. And again, it's just my experience. I could be, I don't know, maybe something I did wrong or something. I don't know, but like in my experience, like, man, yeah, take care of your hands, wrap them up.
Definitely wrap them up.
Yeah,
Make sure you wrap them up.
seriously.
Even
Yeah.
pro boxers in fights, they wrap them up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Other than that, like, yeah, that's my plan for the rest of this year. I should be back by like December or whatever. I'm planning on going to Mexico for December for a couple of weeks, hanging out with the family.
that should be fun.
And then I want to, as an amateur, I want to win all the tournaments that they have for Muay Thai. I want to get some amateur MMA fights. And then hopefully I want to have a good amateur resume, so I don't want to be begging for handouts as a professional fighter. I don't want to be like, sign me. So I want people to be like, hey, why aren't you going
They
pro?
want to come to you.
Hey, you want to fight for this promotion? You know, like I want to be someone who's sought after. I want to make a dent. You know, I want to make sure that I'm someone who's known. Like I want to be like that McGregor, Adesanya. Like I'm a little bit older. I'm 25, which is, you know, like these guys who were like at that level. Like Adesanya, he has 100+ fights. I have, what do I have now? Like 18 or something. And like, you know, at my age, it's a little bit difficult. But like again, like I feel like I can do it. My coach thinks I can do it. I got a good team. I got a good support system. You know, my family's very supportive. Like my family's very involved. Like my brother trains with me. My cousin trains with me. You know, if I ever need it, my mom helps preps with me. Like my teammates are always there for me. Like it's just like it's a perfect recipe for if there was ever like an underdog story for this to happen, to make it to that next level and like be this next breakout star. I think I got that. I think I got everything I need. So as long as I can keep my body together and push through it, I think I got it. So it's just like, it's basically just like a ticking time bomb. I feel like that, you know, and like, like my goal, like I wanted to be champion in a year. I nailed it.
Yeah.
I didn't get to be champion because I was stupid and I got a little cocky. Yeah. But I had a title fight, 14 months. Right. That's not really heard of. I did not 3 fights in 4 months, and just to start out, I only trained for 8 months. And I was winning them, you know, like, and just doing all this and having the coaching that I have and having the support that I have, I think I can make it. Like, I'd like to get signed to one championship, which they have Muay Thai, kickboxing, and mixed martial arts. And that promotion, they're really good about payday for Muay Thai fighters and kickboxing. So I can kind of ease into the mixed martial arts world. And I think that would be really cool to, you know, excel and with that promotion too, like if you negotiate a good contract, you can fight outside of that promotion. So like UFC, if I was like, hey UFC, I want to fight on the local show, they'd be like, nah, you can't do that. We don't want you hurt or whatever. Yeah. But one championship, you can negotiate. Hey, can I fight on this show? They're like, yep. All right, there you go. So I don't fight on that show. So I can still be making money outside of that. So as a pro, I don't want a lot of downtime. And that's a problem that a lot of people, when they go pro, they have.
Not active.
Yeah, and like for me, I was like, I don't care. Give me boxing, give me MMA, give me Muay Thai, kickboxing, whatever you want. Give me jiu-jitsu match. Like I want to make sure I do this. I want to make sure that I live out my life to, like, I don't want any regrets. I want to live it to the max. I want to make sure that, I just give it my all. Like I started a little bit late. That's fine. Like I've accepted that. I'm a little older. I'm still figuring out a lot of things I should have had figured out a long time ago. But, I got a good 10 years in me, 5 more or less good, like decent years in me. And so, man, I'm going for it. Like it's become my identity. And like, I know earlier in this podcast, I was saying like, I felt like a calling. And man, like this last weekend, I had my team go out to Reno for a Point Kickboxing championship, Point Kickboxing fight. And I think we had like 7 fighters going. And man, if you would have felt the energy that we had coming from my team, it was just like, it's what church is supposed to be. Like, like bro, when people who go to Christian church was like, oh, you feel the Holy Ghost or whatever, like, bro, like it was like energy. It was like, dude, it was insane. Like you could see these people's lives change and turn around. Like you see it in their eyes that they feel like they're beating these demons, like they're overcoming something, and it's like something so special and so empowering. And I watch people's lives change. Like, man, it's like it's starting to really make sense the more I get into it, and the more successful I am, the more I can inspire them, and the more it trickles down, and the better example I am, the better people we're creating, the better fighters, and the more the community grows. And like at my gym, man, it's not about fighters. Most of the people at my gym don't even fight. Most of the people there are just everyday people, like, soccer moms, like people who have careers and jobs who just want to get a workout, and they train with fighters. It's not like they're like, oh yeah, you guys go over there. It's like, no, we're all here together. If you step on that mat, you're welcome. You're welcome to everything that we have. If you want something that we have, we're going to give it to you. We're going to give it to the best of your ability, to the best of our ability to give it to you. It's just something that's like, it's for everybody. Like it's not something that you should be keeping to yourself. It's not like a very, like fighters are very like arrogant and like macho and whatever. It's like, to us, it's like, this is something to be given. Yeah, I want you to experience this. It's something that like now it's starting to make sense the more I get into it. And it's like, honestly, like every time I get the higher and higher, the more right it feels, the higher level I fought, like the higher it feels. Like the last tournament I fought in the beginning of this month, I got silver, and I made weight 2 days before my weigh-in, because I thought there was going to be 2 weigh-ins. Turns out there was 1 weigh-in. So I'm fighting guys that's their true weight class at 156. I should have been fighting a weight class or 2 lower at 48 or 42. And that was without even trying to make weight. I just was laying around for 2 days on weight. And I was fighting these guys that are having 2 or 3 times the experience that I have. And somehow I still made it to the finals. I fought, I think in the beginning bracket, the first fight I had, the guy had like 20 plus fights or something. Can't like quote it exactly, but it was around there, 20, 30. Right. And then he had all this hype. He's, if you Google him, he has all this like a Google page or whatever. Like, I remember like my girl like found this page, like, hey, I didn't want to tell you before the fight, but he's had like this gym is posting him and all this like hype around him. And it's like, you beat him, And then the next guy I fought, like, I was getting in line waiting for my first fight, and the guy was supposed to fight in the next round, in the semifinals. He was beating somebody up. I was like, oh man, I'm glad I'm not in that weight class. It was great because there's 3 rings, and he was on the far one that I couldn't see. Yeah. And I remember seeing like, damn, those guys are huge. I'm glad I'm not in that weight class. And then I remember that it was what was it? It was like, I was like, oh, I remember the guy that I was supposed to fight in the next round. I was supposed to fight the winner, and it turns out that was the guy I was fighting the next round. And I was like, oh, dude, he gave the guy like 4 standing 8 counts. And like the whole fight or something, put him down. The other guy wasn't even fighting. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have a problem. And he's a southpaw, which is left-handed, so it's a problem for most fighters. And the guy I fought in the first fight, I'm not used to. We don't have left-handed people in my gym, a whole lot of them. So I was like, oh no, like, so I was fighting a bunch of left-handers. I ended up beating that guy really bad in the second fight, pretty decisively. Nice. And man, he didn't really touch me that much. It was amazing. And then the guy ended up losing too. Like, I was just kind of in my head too much. I was like, I was taking it too serious. And I'm the most dangerous when I'm like having fun and jumping, whatever, loose, Yeah. But when I fought that guy, I think he was levels. He was better than me. He was a better fighter. If you let me get a full camp, I think I could beat him. But that's just the competitor in me. I could be right, I could be wrong. Yeah. But this guy, like, he was really good. I felt like I was starting to figure him out, but it was just too much too late. and he had way more experience. He was a great opponent, and I also took to that tournament. Because I was supposed to fight later in May. I asked my coach, hey, let's check in on this fight, make sure we're gonna do that, because with COVID things were sketchy. Yeah. And he told me, hey, that fight got moved to August. And I was like, oh man, there's a fight 2 weeks before that, so I had 4 weeks to get ready, 3 weeks of training, and 1 week to cut weight. And I still managed, and fighting 1 or 2 weight classes above where I should have been fighting, I still came out to the finals and winning decisively the fights leading up to it. So it's like
that's what's up.
A lot of it is like I said, against all odds. It's not something that like wears me down or weighs on my brain. So I'm excited to go pro in the next year and a half, and then just take the world by storm. Just
hell yeah, man. And we'll be here supporting you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Robbie. I was gonna say, like, bro, whenever that San Jose fight is, bro, like, let's fucking go out.
Hell yeah.
Why not? Like, we've been talking about going out to trips or just going out to experience something new. Like, why not go watch a fight?
So it's in July, right?
Homie, like,
yeah, July.
Dude, let's set it up. We'll do
July
it.
24th, you said.
Yeah.
Is that a weekend?
Yeah, I think it's a Saturday.
Dude, I'm so fucking down, dude.
Yeah.
But okay, so we talked about everything. Do you have any more questions? Because I was gonna wrap it up on any advice for young fighters.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about doing.
Okay, like anybody that is listening to this and like has any questions for Rob, like, do you mind if they reach out to you and ask, or if any advice of how to navigate the waters, like what worked for you, what didn't?
Yeah, for sure.
We'll have your tag and everything in the information below. We'll tag it right here. We'll post it right here below you. Your Instagram, your Facebook, everything, how to connect to you.
Yeah.
But mainly, we'll wrap it up on just like advice for younger people trying to navigate the waters, and like what advice do you have for them? Like what kind of mindset do they have to have? What should they be looking for when they look for a gym or a coach or just people to surround themselves with?
Yeah, man. 100%. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always here to help. Like I've always been that. Like I know what it's like to be the guy who doesn't have any help, so I'm 100% willing to give that to somebody. Like when you come up, you do better than you see what's missing in the scene, and then you give it back. You fix those errors with yourself, right? So I'm more than willing to give any advice to anyone who has more specific questions and reaching out and whatever. Like 100% do that. Like I'm here to help. And like again, I'm someone who knows like what it's like not to have any help. Yeah. And but yeah, when you're starting off, I say have a solid foundation. Like find a good gym. Like go to a gym. Don't just go because it's a big name or whatever. I've been to several big name gyms and it's just and find a coach that cares about you, because that person's going to give you 100%. Find someone who cares, genuinely cares, not going to throw you in just because they think you're tough or whatever. Find someone who actually cares about building your foundation, building your skills. Look at the people around you. Look at the environment. Do you get along with the people that are on the mat? Do you get along with the coach? How much time are they going to make for you? Look at somebody who is willing to invest that time in you. Like if you have an interest, have a high drive, be coachable. Always do what your coach tells you. Like if they're telling you, it's for a reason. If you're in a fight or whatever, or you're in the gym and he tells you do this, this, and this, don't make your coach repeat himself. Do it to the best of your ability the first time around. Like that's super important. Coaches look at that. So what you want to do is be someone who's like stands out, and the way you can stand out is just listening. Hey, do this. Okay. Yes, sir. Whatever, make sure you give respect to your coach, give respect to your teammates, stay after, go the extra mile. Be careful with trying to fight too early. Build a foundation. Know that your feet are right. Yeah, know how to throw a good jab, know how to throw a good punch. Study, figure out who you want to be, figure out what you're striving for, figure out the type of fighter that you want to become. Watch fighters that more or less give that style. Add your own network. Always be on good terms with people. Talk to people when you go to fights, when you go to Point Kickboxing. If you see a coach from a gym that you like, or if you see fighters that you like, introduce yourself. Most people are really cool. Like if you get that bad apple and it's but like you gave you the best on your end to make yourself be known and make yourself establish these relationships, because a lot of these connections, they're good for you. Like these people that I was telling you guys when I was at this locker room and line fight, like Eddie Abasolo, Kevin Ross, Charles Rockstar. Charles Rockstar was cheering me on before my fight in Phoenix a few weeks ago. He comes up and he's telling me like, "Yeah, what's up, buddy?" I was like, dude, this is a guy who was WBC national champion, who's on Glory Kickboxing. He was in the top 10 world rankings. Eddie Abasolo, I spar with him. I was going to his gym. I go with his fighters. Like these people that I thought were untouchable, they're actually more willing to help than you think. Establish these connections. Always have a good attitude. Be coachable. make sure that you're fighting at a weight class that if you want to fight, make sure that it's a weight class you can handle, because cutting weight can be rough. It can deter your performance.
Definitely.
Just build that foundation. Have a good coach. Make sure you get along with people around you, and then always have a good attitude around people around you, because you never know who's there. You know, so I've been able to pick up fights because someone says, "Hey, that's a good fighter." You know, and then I've been able to walk into gyms because they're like, "Hey, he's a good guy," and that's it. Just by someone's word.
Reputation.
Hell yeah, man.
So
That's fucking great advice.
yeah.
Dude, Robbie, thank you so much for coming on, dude. This has
Seriously,
been
man.
amazing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been so
Great
much
stories.
fun. Great perspective. Something that we wanted to have on for a while. We've never had a fighter on.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope,
It's sick
dude.
just hearing your story, man.
Dude, hell yeah, man. And we're always here to support you. Understand that, okay? We're here
Yeah.
for you. We're here to support.
100%.
Just keep us posted on everything, all right? Keep us posted. Keep your social media posted. We'll retweet whatever. We'll repost whatever. Like, we're here for you, dude. And if anyone is out there needs wants or to ask Robbie any questions, wants help on how to navigate the waters, if you guys want to follow a similar career path, make sure you reach out. He's here to help.
Definitely.
So thank you so much, Robbie. Everybody listening or watching this at home, thank you so much, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.